Move in with Frontier Fiber Optic Internet.
Hey, it's us. Your 10 o'clock video conference meeting?
Sorry, I was on mute.
We heard you were moving.
It's time to upgrade to Frontier.
And get upload speeds 25 times faster than cable.
500 meg internet is just $49.99 per month with AutoPay, plus free activation.
You even get a $100 Visa reward card, too.
So, let's talk next steps.
Do what cable can't. Move in with Frontier.
Go to frontier.com/getmoving for complete offer details. Service is subject to availability and all terms and conditions.
Have you been to Express lately? People can't get enough of their clothes. They're like instant confidence boosters. The jeans come in a temp control fabric that keeps you comfortable no matter the weather. And the t-shirts, hands down, they'll feel like they're made of the softest fabric you've ever worn. And get this, the suits have stretch and look sharp. Like, what? How do they do that? Everyone's raving about the newest looks from Express. Just check out the 5-star reviews. See for yourself and shop the latest at express.com and in stores.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
You are listening to the Voices of Wrestling podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
X out and go listen to some boring podcast where they're afraid of their own shadow. Okay? Don't listen to Joe Lanza, because Joe Lanza's not changing.
And Rich Craich.
Give me a name. Who delivers this guy in a big spot?
Joe, don't yell at me.
In the big spot, who delivers better than this guy?
Stop yelling at me. I agree.
And we are live here on the Voices of Wrestling Flagship Podcast. I'm Rich Craich, alongside, as always, the king of banter, Mr. Joe Lanza. Joe, what's happening?
I'm okay. I just realized, though, I didn't bring any beverages up. That's going to be a problem. But
none of the new Coke Z's, which I did listen to your review of the new Coke Zero. Or Coke Zero Sugar,
tier.
Or whatever. $5 tier. I'm not going to spoil anything for it, but people have to listen to what Joe thinks of the new Coke Zero. That's a nice gimmick. The Joe drinks too is a nice gimmick, because that's easy, man. There's so many new different drinks and sodas or whatever. I hope that.
I hadn't thought about that. I don't know. Should I exploit that? Should I?
Absolutely. But what you said, and I noticed it as well, is that trying to describe what something tastes like is like impossible. How do you even begin to tell people? It's hard to describe what food tastes like, but it's even more difficult to say like what a soda tastes like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I had to describe an orange soda, I'm like, I don't know, it's orangey. Like what do I say about if I opened a can of Crush and said, I'm going to review this can of Crush, and it's like, I don't know, it's bubbly and orangey, I guess. What do you say?
Yeah, it's hard. You run out of adjectives. It's you don't know what to say. It's harder with a beverage than it is food, and it's hard enough with food, to describe what something tastes like. But I got through it.
You did.
Did a nice job. I have some additional opinions now that I've had them for a week. So updated opinions, but yeah, they'll stay in the rotation. Thumbs up. I'm not disappointed. But
$5 tier, obviously, patreon.com/voices of wrestling to listen to the entire Joe Drinks review there. So yeah, hopefully you get your situation. Are you going to send a report down to the kids that you need a drink, or do you need a break here? I can give you a break now if you'd like.
Nah, they're not home yet, but when they do, I'll just have, I'll have one of the children run something up here. Why should I move?
On the silver platter, yeah. No, you've moved a lot. You've moved enough today. You're done moving today.
I've worked hard today. One of them will run it up here, and they get a big kick out of it. They think it's fun, so I don't need to walk down there myself. Then I got to walk back up the stairs. It's a whole thing.
Oh, that's So, no red-blooded American should have to walk up and down stairs while they're trying to do a wrestling podcast. So
absolutely not.
I'm with you. You get winded. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's going to be tough. The rest of the podcast is going to suffer because you're going to be sucking air the rest of the time. It'd be a problem. So
I had a very tenuous doctor's appointment earlier this week, and it all went well. No need to get into medical details.
Right. I don't know if I'm legally allowed to ask you, but if you want to ask, if you want to reveal, feel free. But I don't think I can actually ask you.
I've been going through a thing, and there's been a scare, but everything went well with the visit, and I've been given a complete clean bill of health. So especially now, I'm not walking up and down stairs. I mean, this doctor told me I'm healthy as an ox. So there, forget it. Now I don't even know. Now I know I don't even have to put in the extra effort. So
Right.
absolutely, a child is going to be bringing up a beverage as soon as they're able to. So yeah, because I can't. No, I'm going to get the cotton mouth. You know the cotton mouth
Yeah.
when you.
That's why I have like
brutal.
4 drinks always ready. It's and we always say with the podcast, it is an unfortunate like in between thing here because you want to have the drinks ready, especially when you're doing a 3-hour podcast. You have to have all your drinks ready, but you have to balance them at the right time, or else you are going to have to pee so many times throughout the show. And I try to I try never to. Sometimes once. I don't think I've ever had to pee twice during a show though. That I've always tried to do a pretty good job of. But I don't know if you've been the same. Have you ever peed twice or more than 2 times? I should say on a podcast.
One time only. I have peed like 4 weeks in a row now into a bottle during the show.
I caught you the 1 week. I don't know if I've caught the most recent weeks though.
So yeah,
so you're getting pretty good. You're getting pretty good then, because the first week you said it was a little tenuous, but now you've gotten it down.
Yeah. I mean, you haven't noticed, so
that's true.
True,
right?
I mean, last week I peed into an aluminum soda can, which I thought was going to be too loud.
Wow. That's impressive. That's impressive. Both from a that is dangerous. We talked about the bottle being dangerous. The can is even more dangerous. You're not quite sure when it's gonna reach its limit. You're not quite sure, and there's not a whole lot of space in one of those cans. That could be risky. But I'm glad to hear it paid off.
It's also a small hole because I'm gifted down below, so it was tricky. I had to aim into that tiny hole into the aluminum. That's tricky too. You don't want to miss. And especially a man of my girth, it was very difficult to aim it and get it. But once you get the stream in the right place, then you kind of just have to hold the can and the gimmick steady. And, so it was a little trickier than the wide mouth Gatorade bottle, which I find much easier to,
Is this room that you're podcasting? Is this a carpeted room that you're podcasting in?
It is, which adds a lot of pressure as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like you can't be perfect. I feel like there's got to be a drop or two coming out.
I've never got a drop. No,
I find that impossible.
You use a Snapple or Gatorade bottle. You got.
Oh no, yeah, Gatorade bottle is easy. Yeah, you're an easy street there.
Last week I did. I was like, I need to be careful because I'm gonna pee on the floor. And TLB is going to be very angry. I can blame it on the dog, but the dog.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I do that. A lot. I do that if, like, in the middle of the night, like reckless peeing. I wake up, I'm like, the dog. Look what these dogs did. Unbelievable. And they do it too, to be fair. But yeah, it doesn't.
You're missing the bowl in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to turn any lights on or wake anybody up or whatever. And sometimes you just go and then a minute in you realize, shit, this went very awry. Like,
why don't you just sit? Is that too like?
I'm not against it. I'm not against the sit.
Little not masculine enough for you.
No, I don't care.
If it's 4:30 in the morning and you're getting up. If it's 1:30 in the morning, I was gonna
say I'm already up. At 4:30, I'm up for good then. So.
And you can barely stand, and you're just gonna piss all over the floor. Listen, just take the seat.
I have started to do that a little bit more. I have started to embrace it a little bit more. In my older age now too, especially as I can't see like at all in the middle of the night, and I don't really want to get my glasses and stuff. So it's becoming more and more of a disaster. I should just sit. You're right.
You should just do that.
But that's a whole nother thing. Like you said, it's like going up and down the stairs. I gotta sit down. I gotta stand up, and I don't know. Got time for that.
Yeah, listen. I'm a man of leisure. I understand. It's easier just to whip it out.
Right. We were born to do that.
On the floor.
So, yeah, right. And then blame it on the dogs. I'll clean it up in the morning, but I'm gonna blame the dogs when I clean it up in the morning. It's fine.
Nah, it's gonna be dry and sticky by then. You gotta get
fine. Well, the dogs have probably peed on that same spot as well, so they've made it.
Hold on. Why are your dogs peeing in your bathroom? Why are they doing that?
I don't know. They pee on the toilet a lot. So
they do. They pee near the toilet.
Yeah. Don't ever have 2 male dogs. It's a disaster in this house.
Well, they do the whole leg lift.
Yeah, exactly. They're not. There's not like a lot. It's not like a puddle of piss, but there's little droplets all over the place, and it's just like, God damn it, guys! Like, come on.
Marking territory.
It's everyone's
and
house.
Shit.
It's nobody's territory. It's everyone's house. It's Dad's territory. All right. It's my fucking territory, not yours.
Oh shit! All right.
Yeah,
well,
it's their territory. Who am I kidding? It's their fucking territory. I bought this house because of them. So.
Yeah, they disagree. They're pissing on your toilet. I don't know if I've never seen an animal piss in a human bathroom like that. I know people who keep the cat litter in the bathroom. just to keep all the smells in one place.
Yeah, right.
Like that, I've seen that gimmick. I don't know if I could ever say I've seen a dog that like pisses in the bathroom. That's better because at least it's like a tile floor.
Yeah. Oh no, I much prefer that over like any. We have a few rooms that have carpet, and they honestly don't piss that much in the carpet. The carpeted rooms, which is good. Yeah, I'm like, hey, if you guys have to pee somewhere in the house, peeing on the porcelain toilet and the tile floor, that's okay because that's a quick little swipe and we're good to go. So
yeah,
appreciate that. Wish they'd piss outside more, but it is what it is. Anyway, great way to start this show. We have a lot to get to this week. Plenty of huge topics to get to. We have AEW going to the United Center on Friday, August 20th. We'll talk about that. The latest on CM Punk Bryan Danielson. WWE Q2 earnings report, including some incredible quotes from our man, Big Dick Nick Khan. Some interesting quotes from Vince McMahon that everyone's going to go nuts about, but I know you and I looked at those Nick Khan quotes and said, yes, there is some gold in there that I cannot wait to discuss. Matt Cardona versus Nick Gage from GCW. We both watched the match, and the post-match, we'll talk a little bit about that. MLW's BattleRiot III. We watched that on YouTube as well, so we give some reactions to that. New Japan's Wrestle Grand Slam from the Tokyo Dome happened this week, so we'll talk about that. We'll do a little bit of preview for the MetLife Dome Wrestle Grand Slam. We got a summer action series. We have Dragon Gate. We may have some Noah. And we're also going to talk a little bit about Super Porky as well, the unfortunate passing of Super Porky. But before we do that, I do want to let or remind people, and if you've been following voicesofwrestling.com this week, you know that we're celebrating the 10-year anniversary of this website existing. From the moment that I purchased the domain or registered the domain or whatever and started this stupid website, 10 years to the day here. We're going to officially celebrate the flagship beginning in January 2022. That'll be 10 years of the flagship. But it is still this week. We've still been kind of celebrating the 10th anniversary of the website proper. And I did a Q&A on Patreon, patreon.com/voices of wrestling. And Joe, I wanted to see if you're up for it. I want to ask you a few of the questions that people ask me to see if you have either the same answer as me, a slightly different answer than me, or what. Are you down to do that? Only a few of these. I'm not going to ask like all 50 questions or whatever. Just a handful of questions that I thought it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on these as well, since we're along for almost the entire ride as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
With the exception, for the record, by the way, with the exception of maybe like 4 months or whatever, you've been along for the ride. It's been you and me since January of 2012. So that's
for the audio. Yeah. I mean, you did a couple of those shows with the different format, and then the audio was a couple months later, and then as soon as you had articles and stuff, I was writing stuff, but. The audio, for sure. But
so again, like I said, voicesofwrestling.com. We have a bunch of people from the website writing about their memories of the website, their history of wrestling, how they became wrestling fans, as well as, and this has been pretty fun too, how much their wrestling viewing has changed in the last 10 years, which seems like, 10 years seems like a long time, but then it also doesn't seem like a long time. And then you read someone like Ali Court. I thought his was incredible, talking about how when he started watching wrestling, it was like British wrestling was barely a thing. It was nothing. Then it became this giant boom, and it was great, and it was awesome, and he loved wrestling, and then it turned into whatever the British wrestling thing was afterwards. And that all happened in a 10-year span. It went from nothing to this incredible scene to this absolute fucking wasteland of a scene that it is now, and all in this 10-year span, which is pretty crazy, the things that can kind of happen. So here's a question that I had an easy answer to, but I'm curious if you do. This came from Dalton Bailey on patreon.com/voices of wrestling. He said, what was your favorite segment on the podcast? What is your Joe Lanza's favorite segment that we've ever done on this podcast?
That's a really hard question. Probably one of the game shows. I don't know if I could pick one out specifically. But those are always fun.
You didn't listen to my Q&A, did you?
Bits and pieces.
Okay. So for this one, my answer was... Yeah, go ahead.
What was your... Well, I was just going to say, what was your answer?
My answer was the Chikara name game.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
we couldn't finish the podcast. We were crying.
I couldn't... I was laughing so hard I was crying at some of the fake names. I mean, they were just... My favorite one, I think, was... Rich Mahogany. I think
yes, I have. By the way, I have the names if you'd like them again. I couldn't even get through that. I tried to do it again, and I still couldn't get through it this time. Yeah, Rich Mahogany. He had a nickname too. I forget what it was. One sec. Let me. It was it was just Rich Mahogany. So okay. You were correct on none of these, by the way. You got all of these wrong, which is incredible. I can't believe I forgot that Dan Maloney was one of them as well. Future NXT UK star Dan Maloney.
Oh wow.
Was one of these. Yeah, you somehow got none of them right. That seems Maloney, hard to believe. So
Dan Maloney sounds real fake.
You know, it really does. Right. So there was Rich Mahogany. My favorite one was Cat Scratch Frederick. I don't know why that one got me. It still gets me. There's no reason why that. It's like not that funny, but it's also just incredibly funny. So
yeah.
Cat Scratch Frederick. Dr. Rod Diamond Fire. That was a great one too. And I don't even remember if that was a fake one or a real one, to be honest.
You just picture what these people would look like in the Chikara universe. You know?
Actually, Dr. Rod Diamond Fire was real. Sorry, that's actually a real name there. There was the Tennis Man Chester Ace.
I love that. Tennis Man Chester Ace.
That's a good gimmick. Honestly, if we're being honest, that's not a bad gimmick.
That's like early Gran Akuma. He was
the Tennis Man Chester Ace. Yeah.
The headband, the fucking headband. The old school 70s racket.
Yes.
Yeah. Can't be a modern racket.
Oh, no.
Short shorts. The socks with the stripes on them pulled up to the half calf. Absolutely.
Just great stuff here. Clothesline Curtis, Donnie Primetime. The Legion of Rot was one of them. The Lee Obstruction. Real? I don't remember which one was real and which one was not. But Rich Mahogany is probably Rich Mahogany and Cat Scratch Frederick are my two favorites. Always. That's just, and the Tennis Manchester Ace is great. But that is probably an all-time segment. And somebody reminded me as well as I was able to find the date of that game show. So what happened was on that show, this might be an all-timer. This might be the best flagship. And I never want to say that any one of them is the best, but that one might be up there because apparently before we played the Chikara name game, you did the Wrestle Circus rant.
Oh,
when Jervis Cottonbelly slid into the DMs.
Yeah.
To tell us to stop being mean about Wrestle Circus.
In his old school language.
Right.
Deal.
Yeah. Hello, sirs.
He was like, "Hello, good chaps." Like that's how he.
I would like to take issue with a recent discussion y'all had on your.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
And he typed it in that format.
Typed it like that
and
in
we're
that format.
Staring there, going, "What is this geek talking about?"
If you'd kindly respond post haste to my formal request of a discussion to settle these matters, I'm like, what the fuck, And you're reading it like in his voice because you have to, because it's typed out that way. Yeah. I'm like, what is this guy's deal? Like, is he serious right now? No, that I didn't realize that was the same show. That's pretty wild. The Chikara rant, not Chikara, Wrestle Circus.
One and the same in some ways. So unfortunately,
oh.
Sean Mason, he had a pretty good one as well. What is your favorite moment in wrestling? To cover over the last 10 years. What's a moment in wrestling that really to you was like, this was awesome. I'm so glad we were able to be here for this.
I'm glad that you did this audio because I stink at answering questions like this.
It was tough. What I had to do was they came in early in the day and I basically thought about them the entire day and did a bunch of research to try to figure out. Because you have that when someone asked me like, hey, what's the best match of the last, and I'm just like, I don't know. What wrestling? I watch hours upon hours of wrestling every single week and I can't remember anything.
I mean, if you want me to give you one moment over the last 10 years that was my favorite to discuss, is that the gist of the question here?
Kind of, yeah. Favorite moment to cover, yeah. So that's probably the better way to answer it.
Probably when something where I got to take a victory lap where I was right and everybody else was wrong. Maybe Kenny Omega winning a G1.
I brought that one up as somebody said, what's your all-time best victory lap? And I said that was the one where when you won the G1, you told me we are starting the show with my clip a year and a half ago telling everybody to just stop being idiots about Kenny Omega and that Kenny Omega is going to main event a Wrestle Kingdom. And that's what we did. We started the show. I think we got it ready, but the intro played and then it went back to 2 years ago, you ranting for about 20 minutes about how Kenny Omega was going to main event a Wrestle Kingdom and everybody needed to just shut up about it when he was sticking, flags in people's butts and stuff. And you were saying, guys, I'm telling you, he's going to main event a Wrestle Kingdom. Just shut up.
Well, I remember the show when he signed with New Japan.
Yeah.
And they did the press conference, even before he debuted with the Bullet Club, because he signed with New Japan and they just did a straight presser. And we came on the air and we were like, listen, This guy's not just going to be a guy on the card. He's going to be a main eventer, and he's going to break out as a worldwide superstar. I mean, that's on tape if people can go find that. And then we got a lot of pushback on it. And then, we started with like what you're talking about. Like, listen, ignore the cleaner bit. They're just biding their time until they're ready for the push, and it's coming, and more pushback. And then I was always confident it was going to come. I mean, he didn't sign there to be, a junior or whatever. He signed there to break out as a worldwide star. He had already been a proven draw. I mean, it wasn't even that hot of a take. I didn't think it was that hot of a take. I thought it was obvious that he was coming in to be a top guy. And, and so that victory lap felt good because it wasn't just that we were right. It's that the right people were wrong. Like, I love the ones where like the right kind of people were also wrong.
Yes.
And we were right. Those are the ones that really feel good.
Yeah, not ones where we made a prediction and it just happened to go right, but when like all of the people that we hate were wrong.
Yes.
And we can go and like feverishly defending their side and telling you guys are idiots, you don't understand anything. That is the all-time victory laps. Those ones are great. Just shove it right in all their faces. Yeah, it's
turn the screws on that and rub it in, and that's so that one. I don't know if that answers the question you asked me.
No, I think for sure. Yeah, I remember, and it kind of relates. My answer kind of relates to this next one that this person asked, and I'll ask one more after this. And it was Jeff Pop who asked, was there a point when you guys realized now we're cooking in terms of podcast network articles or the website? So podcast network, traffic or hits on the website. And I had an answer, and I think it might be the same answer that you would come up with. But what was the moment where you thought, hey, well, now we're really cooking. This is really going.
For the website in general, I would say just as New Japan really got cooking, because our rise coincided with New Japan's rise. For you and I personally, and more the audio than the site itself, it was rolling out the Patreon and it being an immediate success. That was a relief. That's nervous times saying, okay, let's see if people will pay us. Can we commit to the work? And I had to twist your arm a little. You weren't all in on the idea at first.
I was not.
I had to twist your arm a little. But once I got you to commit to the idea and then we put it out there, you don't know if people are going to be willing to fork over money to support you, especially since you have no track record of whether you're going to do the extra work or not yet. You haven't proved yourself. And when I saw that the Patreon was almost an immediate success and still growing to the point now where it makes tax time a comedy routine. I mean, I wish people could read our text messages back and forth during tax time. And our bitching and complaining and
our wives and their reactions to it as well, which
I finally got mine understanding it and how. No, we're not losing money. Listen, she finally gets it. I don't know about the nurse.
So what the nurse did this year is I said, hey, taxes are coming up. And she says, I don't care. Just do them and tell me what it is at the end. I don't care.
Oh, that's a win.
Just do it. And I was like, all right, cool. That's fine. Yeah. She's like, I know I'm going to be annoyed. I know I'm going to hate it. So just go do it in the other room. Do it on a weekend when I'm working. And I don't even want to hear anything. Just let me know when the check comes. And then I was like, all right, I can do that. So.
Yeah, I finally sat mine down and thoroughly explained, and she works at a bank, so eventually she got it. You know what I mean? So, but for a while there, it's like, hey, I'm going to be sending Rich $8,000 in a couple of minutes. Can you please? And it's like those were hard conversations to get them to understand, get her to understand why that's happening and why that didn't mean that we were down 8,000. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I would say the rise of New Japan. I'm like, oh, okay, when people are coming to us first for reviews or our audio, and then the success, the Patreon being a success is like, oh, okay, people really do like what we do.
Right.
We provide something that has value to people. So I would say those two things.
Yeah, so my answer was Wrestle Kingdom 7, and that's like you mentioned there with the rise of New Japan, and that felt like the one where it was like, okay, we were ready to go. We had been doing a lot of New Japan coverage or whatever, but that was when, you and I were both watching it live. You had a review right away, we had a podcast right away, and I remember the numbers just going like crazy, because then it started getting out that, hey, this is this incredible match, and Dave Meltzer's talking about it and all that sort of stuff, and nobody else was covering it. Like, people don't remember this time, like going back to Wrestle Kingdom 7, like there was nobody covering New Japan. Dave Meltzer would occasionally talk about New Japan and mainly talk about the big shows or the big matches or whatever. I mean, he was always kind of watching it and always kind of following it, but it wasn't like it is now, where he's obviously covering every single show and talking about every single show. And that was it. Like, there was nobody else talking about New Japan. Maybe you'd get some results here and there. Maybe you'd get, one little column here and there from other sites, but nobody else was covering it. And that's when we had decided the year or so prior, hey, this thing is growing. This thing is going to be big. Let's go all in on it. Let's cover it every single week. Let's watch everything we can watch. And it wasn't easy. The other part about it too, it wasn't easy to follow this company at this time as well. But we basically decided we're going to do that. And I remember that Wrestle Kingdom 7, getting that review up there, getting the podcast up there right away, and it did it quadrupled, like that article quadrupled anything else we had ever done on the website, like immediately, just because when people typed in Wrestle Kingdom on Google, it came up first because nobody else was doing it. And then a lot of people discovered the podcast from that Wrestle Kingdom 7 as well. So that's the one that I always remember, really kind of cooking. And then, you mentioned the Patreon, and the other one I'll mention too, was Wrestle Kingdom 9 was another one that I really felt, because that was the first English one. Remember, I was gonna say we did a lot of work for Wrestle Kingdom 9, Joe. You wouldn't know it from on the air, because a man who shall remain nameless with the initials J and R felt that it wasn't necessary to shout out the person who helped him do all the notes or whatever. But that was a big moment, because again, like, it felt like a culmination of a lot of what we had done. And somebody asked me, hey, do you feel like you were in any way responsible for New Japan or any other company's growth in America? And I honestly, I don't want to say that we were number one. I mean, I would never say that we're like the reason that New Japan got popular in America, or New Japan and all that sort of stuff. I would never, ever, ever say that. But I do think Wrestle Kingdom 9 getting on English commentary, being as popular as it was, being as big as it was, I mean, to me, I felt a weird sense of not necessarily accomplishment, but just that we made the right call all those years ago by saying, hey, let's put a lot of effort into New Japan Pro Wrestling and see where it goes. And I remember that moment being a big deal, and our web traffic just was insane for Wrestle Kingdom 9 as well. And our podcast, I think still to this day, that Wrestle Kingdom 9 podcast is one of our most listened to ones ever. It's just, it just was nuts. I mean, the people just went crazy listening to that show, and it helped that it was an incredible, like, all-time great show. But I think we titled it like Once in a Lifetime or something like that. And yeah, that's still to this day one of our most listened to podcasts ever.
Yeah, I mean, New Japan all those years definitely helped what we do and helped our business. And I always said, look, it's not going to last forever. Their hot run lasted a long time, and we'll see what happens post-pandemic, but I really think that era ended when Naito won the title. When Naito finally won the title at Wrestle Kingdom from Okada, I think that was the definitive end to that era. And now, Rich, it's the AEW pay-per-views. I wish they ran them every month.
It is some nice, that is some nice stuff when those AEW pay-per-views drop, baby. Yeah, yes. People keep asking us to cover these weekly Dynamites as well, and like I'd love to. It's hard to, it's hard to plan them, but
we do cover the.
No, I meant on an instant reaction. I know Thursday TV reviews. I know.
Oh, I see how it is with these people. If Rich is in there, it must not count. I review every Dynamite every week, you dopes. $5 tier, Thursday TV reviews.
That's half price. Half price, actually.
Yeah, you're getting a discount. No, I know what they mean. Like, they want the instant audio right after the show. It's maybe one day.
Like I always say, if you tell your friends and they all subscribe, and their friends all tell their friends to subscribe, and all their friends tell their friends that tell their friends to subscribe, then yeah, we'll do instant reactions every time.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Not have to punch a clock the next morning, and then you get hours of audio every single day. So there you go. Last question I just wanted to ask here. This is the last one that actually came in from Matt. Had said, have either of you guys had issues or fights with the wife over any aspect of the podcast or podcast network?
How'd you answer that?
I just said that not really. I actually showed the nurse this and said, hey, what do you think? And she goes, Yeah, other than just like you always being busy every Thursday for 3 hours, and yeah, other than that, really nothing. It was so I think like what initially like the first few years of it, it was just kind of like a wait, you have to do this podcast today, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I got it, and that's before we had like a set schedule. We would just kind of text each other and say, hey, you want to do a podcast today? And you go, yeah, sure. So I'd come home and say, hey, I'm doing a podcast with Joe today, and she's like, oh, I wanted to do this or I wanted to do that, and I'm like, well, I don't know, sorry, I'm doing the podcast with Joe tonight. Once we got into like a very obvious like either Wednesday or Thursday routine with these things, it's pretty much not been a fight after that because she just knows that every Wednesday and every Thursday I'm going to sit here and talk to Joe. I'll say the Patreon money certainly helps as well. So
yeah, it's financing her lavish vacations.
Right. So. I will say the I wanted to go out to eat, or I wanted to hang out with you tonight. Those have suddenly gotten a little quieter over the last few years. So that go talk to Joe. Go do a Patreon show. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. She's getting in on the Patreon. Like
Absolutely.
She understands. Yeah. She's like, well, listen, I'm a draw here too. So maybe we can. I get the numbers up a little. Yeah. So that'll quell it a little. No, I've had zero problems. I mean, I'm just extremely lucky. I mean, you married the right one. I mean, she considers it work. I mean, I know you laugh about that, but because you have to understand, she wasn't around for the non-money drawing years. She only knows the show from the perspective of it brings in money. So, it's like a job. So from her perspective, it's work. And I mean, sometimes I'm watching wrestling and she'll like shoo the children out of the room. Oh, your father's working.
Dad's working.
And I'm like, this is great. Like,
you're right. Get him out of here. Scram. Get out of here.
Yeah. Hit the bricks. Yeah, that's right. Get him out of here. So no, there's never any problems, especially with the show, because like you said, it's usually consistent every Thursday. Every now and then, if I have to watch something, she's not super thrilled, but at the same time, I watch most of the stuff when nobody's around anyway. So no, I don't have any. Long answer. Here's the short version. No, I don't have any problems with the wife or the family when it comes to this stuff.
No, I really and like it largely helped that I started dating Michelle in January of 2012. So like when I first met her, I was like, hey, look, I run this wrestling website and I do this podcast with this guy. So it was never like I hit it for 6 years or whatever, and then 1 year she's just like, wait a minute, you do this thing every single week or what? It was never that. I was just like, hey, look, listen, like I'm going to have to talk at least once a week to this guy or once every few weeks to this guy about wrestling, and I have to run a wrestling website, so that's just going to be a thing. So I'm sorry, that's a part of my life now. And she was like, whatever, it's fine. So yeah, it's never really been that much of an issue, other than occasionally watching wrestling and her rolling her eyes and leaving the room or whatever. But that's not a fight. That's just, why do you watch this stupid shit? And I sometimes ask the same question, so it's fine.
I do remember one time when we were first like dating or whatever, that she invited me over and it was a night of a show, and I was like, no, I got to do my podcast tonight. And she's like, you realize that like we're gonna have sex?
You're right. I'm inviting you to my house.
I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, I cannot. Like,
I would love to have sex, but I can't. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And then
stay up till like 11 or whatever, and then I'll be there. I'm there.
Listen, I will fuck you at midnight, but right now I cannot come over. There will be no sex. So yeah, that was very, very early on, and then once I explained, that this is like a weekly thing, then it wasn't an issue anymore.
Yeah. So there you go. That was a few of the questions. I answered a bunch of those. Like I said, I answered 50 different questions about the website over the last 10 years. So that is on patreon.com /Voices Wrestling. And I said as well, the voiceswrestling.com, a lot of great stuff. This VOW 10 series of articles, a lot that I would really, really recommend. It's just basically contributors to the website, talking about their wrestling lives, how they became wrestling fans, and how their fandom has changed over the last 10 years as well. Some really, really good stuff there. Some really deep stuff. Some stuff like I never even knew about contributors that we have to the website. Just some really, really cool stuff. So definitely check that out at voicesofwrestling.com. And as I said, January 2012, we will do the 10 years of the flagship, and that should be quite the celebration. Maybe Yatsume will call in again, and because he did that on our was it our 1 or 2 year anniversary, or whatever the hell, or 100th episode or some shit like that. So
100th episode, but that was a work.
It wasn't Yatsume?
No, we worked. It wasn't really.
Oh, we didn't know. Yeah, we don't know what our actual numbering system is at all. So.
We don't have a numbering system. We pretend. So we totally worked it, but just to do like a special show.
Yeah, I think you were like, we got to be close to 100, right? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Next week we'll do 100. So yeah, I think we have come up with the system, but then I think we forgot about it again, and I guess maybe we can get it up again. But years are a lot easier. Let's just round them off to years. It's a lot easier than doing the 800th episode. That's too hard to figure out. So
we never numbered them. No. We just did the old back of the envelope math. When did that become a phrase? Because I hate it.
Oh, back of the envelope math. I also dislike that phrase. So.
Everyone says that. Like, I feel like in the last year or two, that phrase has exploded. And I feel like I never heard it before that. So who started that and where? Because I hate it. Back of the envelope math. Have you been hearing that for years? Or just
I think I've heard it for a couple years. Probably no more than like 5 years, though. But it's the same deal. I've never even considered grabbing an envelope and writing a bunch of numbers down. Like, that's just strange. Like, who would do that?
I just hate the phrase. I can't stand it. I feel like every smarmy blue check mark uses that phrase on Twitter.
Aaron Rupert or whatever his name is. Who's the guy that you hate? There's a blue check mark that's just always in your mentions, and you just get...
Oh, because people retweet him constantly.
Right, I think it's Aaron Rupert, right, is the guy's name?
No, not Aaron Rupert. Aaron Rupert is the... No, he's in our mentions sometimes.
Yeah, that's right. He is in our mentions sometimes. He's the guy that does the big... Fan. Yeah, that's right. He's the one that does the big Trump threads. Like
he does the long Trump threads and just dunks on Trump.
Yeah,
like,
that's right, because all of a sudden I was in our... Like, somebody said something, and I was like, is that Aaron Rupert who's in our mentions? Like, what the fuck?
At least 2 or 3 times a year, he'll pop up.
Yeah.
I guess that could be searched. Maybe it's less. But and people like that delete tweets constantly. But no, it's the I could see the guy Kyle Griffin.
Kyle Griffin. That's
or Kyle Griffith, whatever his fucking name is.
Kyle Griffin. And, it's at Kyle Griffin 1 is the guy you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Now listen, I have nothing against this man. I know
you really don't know anything about him. Yeah,
he gets retweeted. He would get retweeted into our timeline so often that I just got so sick of his dumb face and his stupid mustache.
It's a particularly dumb face. I will give you this. It is a particularly dumb face. So.
And he's like a political guy or whatever.
He's the senior producer of MSNBC's The Last Word. So there you go.
Listen to me. I don't give a shit what Kyle Griffith 1 says about anything on this earth, and yet he would get retweeted. It was so I had to block this man because for whatever reason, the people we follow would not stop retweeting and quote tweeting this guy. I don't know if he's good. I don't know if he's bad. I don't know what the appeal is, but that dumb face would pop up on the Twitter timeline a half a dozen times a day, and I just could not take it anymore. So, yes. What is it? Kyle Griffin
1. Yeah, at Kyle Griffin 1. I put in the No Dopes chat room. I put a link to his profile picture as well, so you can see it. And it's a particularly dopey face too. It's just like again, like he's not a bad looking dude. It's just there's a look about it that it enrages you for some reason.
Yeah, I can't fucking stand the guy because sometimes I will block people on Twitter who don't even follow us. We don't follow them.
Yeah, like Kyle Griffin has never heard of us. No clue. He's probably never watched a second of pro wrestling. It's fine. Like, you know.
But if they constantly end up on my timeline, I'm not following them for a reason. I don't care about their content. So then sometimes I just have to block to keep them away. Like, I've blocked many wrestlers for that same reason. And wrestling adjacent people. And then they'll be like, oh, Voices of Wrestling.
There's one famous one who really dislikes that we did that. But
well, it's Shazza McKenzie.
Yeah, I was going to say, we can name names. There you go, yeah.
I hate her fucking tweets. I don't care about her. But her dumb fucking shitty tweets that I don't like kept ending up on our timeline. I'm like, I have to block Shazza McKenzie. I don't want to see Shazza McKenzie content anymore. And then, like, I guess someone quote tweeted us and she saw that she was blocked and she's like, I never interacted with these guys. And I feel bad, but it's just because I don't care about her content. That doesn't mean I have anything against her personally. There's one now I'm about to block. Charlie Evans. I don't even know who this is.
Yeah.
Allegedly, this is a wrestler.
Yeah, in the Dylan Bostic era of wrestlers where they exist just to be retweeted, but don't actually ever wrestle everywhere. So
this Charlie Evans person, Rich, they are constantly, you see it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why are they always on our timeline? I didn't even know it was a wrestler until I finally looked at the profile and, this is allegedly a wrestler. I don't follow that. If I didn't slap block yet, it's coming. And it's not because I have anything against this person. It's because I have something against the content. I don't want to see Charlie Evans thirst trap pictures on the time. I don't care. I have no interest in it whatsoever. Of Charlie Evans with her tongue out. How many times can I look at Charlie Evans pictures with her tongue out? I don't want to see it once, let alone 6 times a week. So that happens a lot. And that's what happened with Kyle Griffith 1. This fucking guy. How's he ending up on a wrestling timeline as often as he did?
Every day.
He's every day. He's a politics guy. I don't care about politics. Anyway, he fired me up over Kyle Griffith 1.
There we go. Well, so that was that. That was again the VOW 10. I don't even know how we got to Kyle Griffin 1 and Aaron Rupar or whatever, but we did it. So
Rupar
anyway.
Good. I got no beef with
no beef with him. No beef with him.
No beef with no beef with any of these people. Beef with their
it's
content.
Not Kyle Griffin. It's not Kyle Griffin 1's fault that he gets retweeted every second into our timeline.
Listen, if I cared about political content, I might follow the guy. I don't know. It's just, oh man. I was in a good mood. I always get worked up at some point.
I apologize. Well, don't go to the no dopes chat room because you're going to click the picture and you're going to get all mad and hot and bothered again. So do not do that. Stay away. Okay. No.
Let me see this guy's. There's his dumb face. He's got that dumb mustache and that fucking haircut.
It's just such a dumb. It's really bad. Yeah. JRJ said a face that demands to be punched, which is
yes. He's got a haircut like he's playing for Wales in the World Cup. Right. Like he's got that soccer player haircut. Oh God. Oh, why'd you make me click that?
I'm sorry. So anyway, let's get to the actual show proper here. We were going to start off with the news like we always we don't like to do this, but we when someone passes away, we do try to start the show with a little discussion about them. And this one won't be very long because I know I don't have a ton to add about this person, but Joe, you wanted to at least touch on it a bit. Super Porky. Brazo de Plata passed away at the age of 58 this week.
Hold on 1 second. Look at you looking all sexy. Come here. Look at this. Where'd you get this dress? You've had this? I like this. You know what this reminds me of? The broad from Mad Men. What's her name? Joan. Yeah, that's what this, it's got that whole 60s vibe. Got that going on back there. I like this dress. Thank you. It's nice. Yeah, very nice. Hey, I need a Coke Z. Is there a child that we can? All right. Well, listen, no rush. If you want to send one of the indentured servants up here, that'll work too. Yeah. Okay. More of that dress. I like that. Oh, listen. You never know. Yeah. I'm live on the air. Yeah. Well, I'm getting a little. Now I'm tugging my collar because
things are getting hot and heavy over there. I'm just gonna stay.
They are. They really
do whatever you guys want to do. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah. All right. So what?
Okay. Well, why don't you wait a minute? Because you're clearly distracted here. So
he's transitioning to the death of Super Porky.
Yeah, I was like, well, speaking of your wife's dress, Super Porky just.
Yeah. It's a lovely dress.
I loved her. You're like, whoa, where'd you get that dress? She's like, I've had it. You've seen it. That was a great quote by her. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh man, no. It's
okay.
Nice.
Are you all right? You're all right.
You think I'm buttering her up? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking.
No. I know you appreciate a nice. You appreciate a nice dress. As do I. Sometimes it takes you aback. Sometimes you walk in the room and you're like, whoa, what are you doing today? You're looking good.
Yeah, I'm like, look at this. I'm like, every show around this time, she'll sneak in here and get changed. So you don't even know. So this time, no, I was taken back. I was like, this is a nice dress. I've never seen, the areas were looking nice in this dress, so I had to say something, and also I do need a soda though. That is true.
You figure out how to transition to Super Porky. I'm out. That's you to figure out. Speaking of, get to Super Porky.
Only 58. Like you would think way older, but he probably started when he was like 14 or something. because that's just the culture down there. He debuted in 1977. So yeah, that's what, 13 or 14, right? You're the math expert.
I am certainly not the math expert, but yeah, he was born in 1963. So yeah, I mean, pretty early in his life.
Yeah. So the thing about Brazo de Plata is he gained a lot of weight and became a comedy act, but he became a really great comedy act, one of the best comedy acts around. But I think a lot of people who didn't see him work before that don't realize he was also considered a very great worker. And of course you had, Los Brazos, I think they're all dead now, right? Wasn't he the only one that was still alive?
I believe that's correct. Let me make sure, but I'm pretty sure that is true, unfortunately.
Yeah. So they were a legendary trio team, one of the trio teams, Hall of Famers, the whole thing. They lost the famous mask trios match to Villanos in either 88 or 89. And that's a famous match. I've never seen it. I think the footage is very hard to come by at this point. I would love to see it. Thank you so much. You're really going to leave the dress on now, aren't you? Like them compliments. That's right. It is working. Trust me. All right. So, crack open the Z here.
1988, I believe, is when they lost the match.
Yeah, and I know that it's on tape. I know that, but I don't know how readily available it is.
Yeah, let me check. October 21st, 1988. Let me see if you're able to find it anywhere these days. It's one of those ones that sometimes pops up. The quality's kind of iffy sometimes, and sometimes it goes away, it gets deleted or whatever. I've seen parts of it, but I probably haven't seen the entire match.
I've never seen it for sure. But that's famous match, and the Villanos took.
Oh, actually, it looks like April. It got re-uploaded. So I don't know. Yeah, it looks like when I looked it up, it says Los Villanos versus Los Brazos, Mask versus Mask, Monterrey.
October 21st, 1988.
Let me try to open it without it playing the audio. Let's see here. Yeah, October 21st, 1988. So
how long to file?
I'll put it in No Dope's chat room. 23 minutes. So let's see if it's it's a match. I mean, the quality's not great. Oh, it's pretty horrendous quality, but you know what? Hey, if you want to see it, you can see it. So.
Lucha from 1988, you take it.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say it looks like it's filmed on a freaking in an Apple. It honestly literally looks like footage from 1922. Like when you watch Babe Ruth is the best home run hitter in the league. It's like, the war efforts. Like, buy bonds, you know what I mean? Like, because you're watching some movie or whatever. It's like, yeah buy war bonds. It's like that. It's from 1988. It looks like a fucking war bonds,
Rich's
propaganda video.
That was Rich's newsreel voice.
Right.
Babe Ruth, the Sultan of SWAT. He slugged 3 homers for the Yankees.
Even the kids are getting involved in the war effort. So, it's just like a bunch of kids like lifting wood or whatever. It's like,
yeah. Kids
all hands on deck to help our men in blue.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. But yeah, that's if I knew that match was floating around, I probably should have put in some effort. Didn't seem too hard to find. Maybe I thought it was harder to find than it really is. But I definitely would have watched it before we did the show. But yeah, as he aged, he became morbidly obese. I mean, the running joke has been, he used to do one of his famous comedy spot was faking a heart attack as a spot in a match because of the terrible shape that he was in. Like that became one of his comedy spots. In fact, the fake heart attack spot that he would do was something that he would also do. Okay, so I was talking to, who was telling me that story in Dallas in 2016? Who I can't remember who it was. Somebody who worked with him in a trios match and in Mexico. And what he would do is sometimes he would do the fake heart attack to get out of losing a fall.
Yes.
Like the story was he was supposed to drop like the first or second fall, whatever fall it was. And he faked a heart attack, but no one else knew he was going to do that in the match. And he just did it to avoid taking the fall. And then he was scheduled to win the third fall. He came back. They took him out on the stretcher.
Him back to life.
And he came back out to win the fall. But he would do that spot as a planned spot. But sometimes, like in this instance, he would do it just to avoid like eating a fall in the match, like a total worker. You know what I mean? A total worker. But I can't remember who told me that story. Oh, I know who it was. The guy, he got canceled in Speaking Out. He was from Texas. He trained
Andy Dalton.
No. This is a luchador.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, wrong. He also is from Texas and got canceled in Speaking Out. Rudy Boy Gonzalez told me that story. He said he was he was in a trios match with Porky, and he faked the heart, but didn't tell anybody. So, and then came back, the hero of the match in the third fall. So yeah, there was the heart attack spot, and then of course he had the really short run in WWE in the
2005. Yeah, this is people. It's still to this day, I can't believe this was a real thing, but it was a real thing for a short period of time. It started October of 2005. It was getting the Wayback Machine here. Network executive Palmer Cannon. Remember Palmer Cannon?
Remember Palmer Cannon? Yeah.
SmackDown GM Theodore Long. So yeah, they had the guidelines were midgets, dwarfs, the little people, they're all welcome. So it was any world-class athlete that was 5 foot tall or under was this idea for the juniors division. And when you think juniors division, you probably think, oh, hey, they probably got some like really cool talent or whatever. No. The junior division, the logo for the juniors division was like children's like handwriting. Yeah. Do you remember this thing? It looked like a Saturday morning like.
And there was like a bouncing ball.
Yeah, it was like a bouncy ball. Like they were literally supposed to be these like
children.
Small people that aka children.
Yes.
Somehow Super Porky got involved in that. I have no idea. Mostly because I think someone found out that he was really, really fat. So they had great segments where he would like eat stuff backstage, and Teddy Long would, hold his head and go, "Oh my God, I can't believe what's going on here."
Rich, he's 5 foot tall, nearly 400 pounds, and his name is Super Porky.
Yes.
You don't think they were
right.
all over that when they found out?
But the other guys were, there was Super Porky, it was Masquerita Sagrada, Pitbull Patterson, Paracito, and then the other guy, Short Sleeve Samson,
and
Octagosito. So it was not good. And then
I don't even know that Porky ever wrestled a match.
I think he was only backstage. Yeah, I think he was only backstage.
And he would carry around like a spiral ham.
Yes, always had a spiral ham, and he would always just start eating it as well.
Eat the ham, and Teddy Long would be like, "What's going on, player? Like, why are you eating ham?"
Right,
like that would be
that was it.
Yeah. I mean, he would never actually. I don't know if he ever wrestled a match. That's the thing in WWF. But that was very short-lived. And we always tell this story, but they recruited Taiji Ishimori for that. And I don't know why that fell through. I don't know if Ishimori was like kind of read the tea leaves and was like, I don't want to do this shit, or they just couldn't get him in. But I don't think it was supposed to start as like a comedy division where the guys were portrayed as children. I think it was a genuine effort at first to do something different. But, once they get their eyes on some of these characters, they can't help themselves. And shockingly, it failed.
Yeah, February 2006, it was eventually done as well. But that transitioned into Hornswoggle, who debuted later in that year too. So they got their little people no matter what. But it was not in the juniors division. But Super Porky was a part of that. And I believe, is that where he got the Super Porky name? Am I correct in that's where Super Porky came from?
That I don't know.
I think he was still Brazo de Plata at that time, and then after that,
he's always been Brazo de Plata.
Right.
I think once I don't know the answer to that. I can't give you an answer. My gut tells me no. But you could be right. I don't know. We're talking 16, 17 years ago now. I could be wrong. I don't know. But and that was also, I think, when he had briefly left CMLL and jumped to AAA.
Correct.
So, because he was a CMLL guy for decades. I guess he was a UWA guy before that. But and then he jumped to AAA, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Maximo and Psycho Clown are his children. So 2 very famous wrestlers that he has as sons, and one is the, biggest star in Mexico right now. And Maximo has been a big star for a long time as well. And, part of that huge family, is...
Yeah, the Alvarado family, who's got a ton of people. Lady Apache's there, the Brazos, as we said, Maximo's there, Psycho Clown's there. Tons of people in that family. Just a really, really...
Lady Apache?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of Fabi Apache.
Yeah, oh yeah, sorry, different.
Yeah,
Aramis,
different.
I believe, is in that family as well. I think he's...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he's technically...
The current Aramis, really?
I believe so. I believe that's the case. It might be another Aramis, but I think I saw earlier that...
Part of that family?
Yeah.
One of the brothers? So Porky was his uncle? Or
I think so. Unfortunately, Cubs fan or Rob Viper's probably going to respond that if I have it wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the case.
They know we try. Yeah, no, but he was... He would lose hair matches a lot. Porky would. Let me pull up his wiki because he probably lost 20 hair matches. Let me see if I can. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot. Unfortunately, you're going to look at his record, and there's a lot of masks and a lot of hair. that dude understood it. He got the game. For sure. Yeah, almost every year from about 1992 on, he lost his hair.
This motherfucker would grow his hair and then talk his way into a hair match. Like,
just anytime he needed a haircut, he would get some money out of it. They paid him to get haircuts. That's awesome.
Good for him.
That's living life, man. That's how you do it, baby.
He won a bunch of them too, though. I'm noticing on his record here. He won more than I thought. He took a lot of hair. He took a lot of people's hair. But yeah, that if they weren't they're in the Observer Hall of Fame, right? They have to be. Maybe they're not.
Let me double check. I remember talking about them, but I don't know that they ever actually made it there. So let me see if I can double check that real quick.
I'd be a little surprised if as a unit the Los Brazos are not in the Hall of Fame. But according to Wikipedia, they're not. Usually that's listed.
Los Brazos, no. They're not.
I mean, maybe they don't belong. I mean, my limited knowledge, I would think they belong. Maybe I'm off base on that. I never try to pass myself off as a lucha expert. I never have, and I probably never will. But that surprises me a little because they had some legendary matches that I would assume drew a shit ton of money. Being one of those trios teams along with the Villanos and a couple of others that really carried that style for many years there. So that's surprising to me. But yeah, then he had the second act as the comedy wrestler. And I mean, I think he even did an MMA fight or two. I mean, the guy just, it's a true pro wrestler, a true hustler. He even did some legit fights. So not a shock that he died of a heart attack, which is, I mean, he kind of foretold that. I mean, he made it part of his gimmick that eventually that day was going to come.
And like most guys, unfortunately, as and same thing happens with Yokozuna. It happens a lot of fat, quote unquote, fat wrestlers in wrestling is like, eventually they just become so big and then it becomes like, okay, this is not good for your health. But when it's so synonymous with your character and his character became funny fat guy, you know what I mean? So you'd see him every single year. And like, usually I would see him just, I don't watch that much lucha, but I'd see him maybe once or twice a year, whatever. And every single time I remember we would talk about him and we'd say, Joe, he's bigger than ever. Like he's bigger. I've never seen him this big. And he just kept getting so big that, yeah, unfortunately it's always, nobody should die when they're 58. But when you see a guy like that and you're like, well, I mean, I'm not, unfortunately, I'm not super surprised that he died of a heart attack, just given his weight and his health that had really just felt like it took over the last 10 years, just got way out of control.
Yeah. And it's hard enough for non-entertainers to get the motivation to lose weight, as you know. But then, like you're saying, when it's part of what's making you money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Made him money. So
you almost have a built-in, I don't want to say excuse, but reason to justify in your mind why you're not getting in better shape. Oh, well, this is my moneymaker. I make money off of my weight. So, so it could be even harder to get over that hurdle to get yourself into better shape if, like you're saying, that's part of what is paying your bills. So it's even a trickier deal from a psychological standpoint, I would think. But yeah, I would have thought he was a little older than 58, but you always have to factor in that the Lucha guys start a little earlier.
Yeah.
And part of a legendary. Did you find his brothers are dead, correct?
Yeah, I believe every other one of those is dead.
So there you go. That's Braza de Plata, Super Porky.
Yeah.
Who, I will definitely watch that trios match because that's a legendary match. I don't know if it's any good, but it's the kind of match where that's a famous match and I've never seen it before.
Right, you have to watch tremendously famous matches. You have to watch. You just have to. They have to be part of your catalog as a wrestling fan. That's one. There's a few. Yeah, there's like a few lucha matches that definitely stand out. You know what I mean? The Blue Demon. There's a few of those, and just like a few matches that it's like, no, you have to watch that match. That has to be a part of your catalog as a wrestling fan. So.
Yeah, the Atlantis match, that one match of the year, that mask versus mask match, and whenever there's a big mask match, even now, you kind of
we'll always talk about it. We'll always talk about it and cover it. Always.
Yeah, you got to make it a point to watch it, and because you never know if you're going to see something that turns out to be incredibly historic. So, yeah, I'm glad that you found that. For whatever reason, I thought that it was like some super, super rare. Only a few.
Well, like I said, it just got uploaded in April. Now, from my standpoint, I think I've seen that match get passed around a lot, usually during Wrestling Observer season, but I think it gets deleted a lot too, or it gets, whose ever account has it gets like, copyright triggered or whatever, and then I know Roy Lucier or whatever always had it on his account, but then his accounts would get destroyed, then he'd make another account, then it'd get destroyed, and now it apparently is on this other account. But again, like I said, it just got uploaded in April, so who the hell knows? It might be gone in a few weeks. So maybe if you get a chance to watch it this week or next week, try to do so. And I linked it in the No Dopes chat room as well, so you guys can find it on the replay, or as I said, just look up the date. You should be able to find it as well. But understand the video quality, not great, not 4K or anything like that, but still a match that you should definitely check out if you get a chance. I will do the same and try to watch it as well. But let's get to some of the other topics that we want to talk to about this week. And I think the top one, at least for me, and I think for a lot of people as well. All Elite Wrestling announcing Rampage: The First Dance on Friday, August 20th at the United Center in Chicago. Joe, I will be there, hopefully. Well, we're going to try to get tickets tomorrow in the pre-sale, but I cannot miss this opportunity to see live wrestling at the United Center. I have never personally seen live wrestling at the United Center because there wasn't a whole lot of wrestling at the United Center. Because WCW primarily ran the United Center. WWF ran it one time for SummerSlam 1994. Then it became kind of a WCW a building for many, many years after that. And WWE only recently did house shows there, but always ran, obviously, the Allstate Arena instead of the United Center. But this is a big deal for a lot of reasons. So Rampage: The First Dance at the United Center, Friday, August 20th. Now, for people that watch Dynamite, it's pretty clear what's going on here. And if you don't understand, if you're a dope or whatever, immediately following this announcement of the first dance, Rampage: The First Dance at the United Center, which was filled with people chanting CM Punk the entire time, the cameras zooming in on people chanting CM Punk, Darby Allin does a promo immediately following this and says, I'm going to be in Chicago and I want to see the best in the world. So, yeah. I mean, without saying it, I think they're kind of saying it, but regardless, what do you make of this news? United Center in Chicago, August 20th, just a few weeks before they're going to run 3 additional shows in Chicago. Do you think this is a little bit too ambitious, or do you think it makes sense given what they're clearly hinting at here?
Okay, first of all, is it still called the United Center?
Yeah.
It's not called the Sears Center or anything like that?
No, United Center still. The Sears Center is not even called the Sears Center anymore.
I was saying Sears Center on TV reviews over and over.
Oh, no.
I didn't think it was. I thought they said Sears Center for some reason.
So the Sears Center is where they run All Out or All In or whatever. But it's not the Sears Center anymore. It's the Now Arena. Because Sears doesn't have any money, so they can't sponsor it anymore. DePaul plays at the Wintrust Arena.
And they've been there too.
They've been there as well, yes.
Right? They've been to
Wintrust. You're finding out that Chicago has a lot of unnecessary arenas.
Yeah.
The United Center, Blackhawks Bulls, okay? That's Blackhawks Bulls, big concerts, Beyonce, Jay-Z type shit. That all goes on at the United Center.
That's the big building. That's the big building.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Allstate is WWF, and then the Chicago Wolves and some other shit here and there. You know?
Right.
The Chicago Rush of the Arena Football League when that was a thing.
And not Jay-Z and Beyonce.
And not, Jay-Z and Beyonce not going to do the Allstate Arena, unfortunately. And then the Sears Center, the Now Arena, pretty much literally nothing but All Out. I don't even know why that arena exists at all, but it's close to my house, so I guess that's cool. And then what other ones? Wintrust Arena, DePaul, but also AEW Revolution. So there you got it.
Right.
The Odeum in Villa Park. That was Global Wars in ECW. What was it? Anarchy Rules with a Z.
What's the name of that one now?
That was the Odeum.
The Odeum, yeah. How many of these are officially in Chicago, and how many are
officially in Chicago? United Center and Wintrust Arena are both officially in Chicago.
That's where you got to use the union workers, and it's a pain in the balls.
Indeed. Yeah, another big reason why Vince McMahon enjoys the Allstate Arena in lovely Rosemont, Illinois, where he has to pay nobody to run that arena, except for,
the Twitter commies will get mad at me, but I can't blame them. I mean, it's just easier not to deal with that.
Trust me, I'm somebody that's I'm kind of able to, like, I don't want to get into politics or whatever, but I will tell you, the unions in Chicago in particular, I absolutely 100% understand why somebody would say, I'm going to run in Rosemont. That's fine. Thank you.
That's pain in the balls. What's the deal with it?
Yeah, I've had buddies that, they'll do concerts and it's like, oh, no, can't plug in your amp. I got to plug in your amp for you. And they're like, look, I'm making $15 to do this gig. Like, I can't pay you to plug in the amp. So I had a friend that one time they were supposed to do they were doing a thing at one of the parks. And it was, they got ready to set up and whoa, no, you can't set up. Our guys have to set up for you. And they just said, forget it. And they just did acoustic. But they were like, we don't need our amps then. Fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. Like, we're going to make literally $18 doing this gig, and we're not going to pay you $400 to plug in an amp. So, no. Sorry. We're moving on.
Absolute racket. So, yeah, it's the United Center. Okay, so I screwed that up. I'm sure people are feverishly...
I'm upset.
But, what was your question? Oh, yeah. So, okay, here's the thing.
What is happening? Why is this show happening, Joe?
I'm having a hard time focusing. Number one, that dress. That's number one.
If you want to stop, I can handle this, and you can go take care of business with the dress. It's up to you.
Listen, I have peed live on the flagship. I have eaten full meals. I have never banged while the flagship is going on. That would really be pushing.
That'd be impressive. That'd be maybe save that for our anniversary show or something. So
I'm not a quickie guy.
Well, we do 3 hours. We do 3 hours here, pal. So you're okay.
Like I said, I'm not a quickie guy. So I like to, no, that one didn't work. Listen, they all can't be winners. All right. So listen, the thing about this is, even before the not so subtle hints, which was basically telling you that CM Punk is going to be there, I thought that AEW had gotten themselves into a little bit of a mess, because there is an expectation now that CM Punk and Bryan Danielson are coming into the company. It may not be their fault that expectation is out there, because they didn't necessarily ask for this to be reported, working under the assumption that they didn't leak it intentionally. But the fact is, people expect these guys to show up. And to me, they were in a position where, since they weren't coming out to deny these reports were false or were true, and just come out and say these reports are false. And once Tony Khan told the New York Post, he gave them the old no comment instead of, regarding both of these guys and whether they were under contract. At that point, you are now going to be the heel in this scenario if you don't deliver these two guys. And it doesn't matter whether that's your fault or not. It doesn't matter whether bodyslam.net is accurate with their information or not. The perception is they're coming. And because you're not denying it, if you don't deliver, you are going to be the heel. Like it or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was before last night's Dynamite, where now they're kind of just like, they did everything they could do without saying the name CM Punk. They're telling you he's going to be there. So at this point, they must deliver. And at this point, I am now 100% convinced that he is signed and coming in.
Well, there's literally no justification for running the show unless you have this guy here. And even then, like, it's going to be very, very interesting. I've had a lot of people ask me, well, do you think they announce him before tickets go on sale? And I said, I think what they did, and I think they kind of played their hand pretty well here. And I enjoyed what they did on Dynamite this week, because they did as much as possible to wink, wink, nudge, nudge you into saying, hey, this guy's going to be here on this show without necessarily doing it 100%, which I kind of like. It kind of leaves that little bit of intrigue in there or whatever. But let's don't get it twisted. On Monday, when those tickets go to the general public and they sell, let's say hypothetically, they sell 5,000 seats out of this 20,000 plus seats that can fill in the United Center. And I have no idea what they're going to do. Maybe they're just going to fill the bottom deck or whatever, anything like that. But regardless, they probably want 10,000 there. You don't rent that arena just for, you don't rent that arena for 7,000 people. You know what I mean? Like, you're trying to get 10, 15, that sort of range in there.
You're trying to fill that fucking
Right. Ideally, you get 20,000. Ideally, you get 22,000. It is not cheap to run that arena. There's a reason they haven't run it before. But, don't get it twisted. If they sell 5,000 tickets, they're going to tell you CM Punk's going to be here on a Rampage or whatever. But right now, they don't need to, and they can kind of keep the wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And if things sell out right away, it's obviously worked. But then, like you said, then you have to deliver it.
When it comes to Punk, though, I don't even consider it wink, wink, nudge, nudge anymore. To me, if he's not there, it's akin to false advertisement. I don't think it's all that, because
we're getting in the bait and switch territory, really. If you go to that arena and then they just go, all right, thank you, bye, and you go, wait, what?
It is so heavy-handed at this point that they must deliver him. Not with Danielson. Because they haven't done that with him.
They have not, no, and that's the thing. That's I think a pretty important distinction that we'll make here in a little bit. Is they have done everything to tell you that Punk's going to be there, but they have not done much other than deny. They've other than say I have no comment on Danielson, but that's all they've gotten from him.
How can you do all these Easter eggs and have Darby Allin say he wants to face the best in the world and all of that, and run that show? They're going to chant CM Punk all night and then not deliver him. They're going to come across very poorly.
Not going to go well. No,
you can't get away with that. So I think at some point they're just going to announce him. I don't think they're going to do it as a surprise. I think they're just going to announce him and sell the place out. They'll sell the place out. I really think they will. It's a great town for them, and people will fly in for that. It's CM Punk. He we've talked about. He's the patron saint of this entire anti-WWE movement, and is a big reason why AEW exists in the first place. And this is CM Punk coming home, even though he's never been there. That's what it is. And that's why I think he's a bigger get than Bryan Danielson. We had that discussion either last week or the week before. I can't remember, but it will sell out. It'll sell the building out. And, it would be really sleazy at this point to not have, if he doesn't come in, to me, that's a disaster. I mean, that's it. You can't, not with the way they ran that Dynamite last night and all those hints because it wasn't just Darby Allin. There was a ton of other very deep cut Easter eggs where it might go over the heads of a common or casual, whatever you want to call it, but the hardcore wrestling fan picked up on them. You even noticed a couple that I didn't.
Yeah. The when MJF came out and cut the promo where Jericho was laying in the middle of the ring after Nick Gage, and I forget the exact wordage or whatever, but yeah, it was an homage to Punk when he cut that promo, the pipe bomb. As he started the pipe bomb to John Cena. Like, some of the words that he used were very similar. The cadence was very similar as well. There was that. There was, like we said, the directors zooming in on people chanting CM Punk, them coming out there and saying, we're going to run a show in Chicago, and the entire segment just being sent with people just chanting CM Punk the entire time. Darby saying best in the world. I mean, there's so much, short of making the pre-sale promo code like Punk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're really just like,
they're inviting it. I mean,
right.
There's talk that they can't legally promote him until a certain date. I don't know how true that is, but it would make sense. Because they haven't done anything that would break a contract or anything. They haven't said his name. But it's certainly they walked right up to the line. I mean, this would be some dirty, carny shit if they don't have this guy signed, sealed, and delivered and ready to go. I mean, that's all there is to it. And I don't think they would do that. I do not think that they would operate this way to make people think that CM Punk is going to work that show to sell out the bill. You're going to have, if there's 17,000 people there, they're all going to fucking hate you when the show is over.
I was going to say, that place might be up for grabs. I'll be honest. I have a few friends that I think would probably tear some seats apart and like go nuts. I mean, I don't mean that, like, I mean that honestly, like, it's going to be, if people go and they spend, whatever amount of money, and I haven't seen what the tickets are for sale yet, like, spend whatever amount of money, and a lot of those same people are going to go to All Out already, and they're already spending money on All Out in a couple of weeks. They're already spending money maybe at Rampage. Maybe they're spending money at Dynamite. They might be doing the whole package, all 3 shows in a couple of weeks. If you have people getting a 4th show in this city and you don't deliver that, and it's just like, hey, here's Rampage. It's just a show. I mean, that's, because obviously the implication with it, you're renting out the United Center, you're renting out Chicago, you're doing it again. I mean, this is killing the town territory type stuff. It really is. It would be that bad. I can't imagine they're that dumb. I just can't. It has to be signed, right? It's got to be done.
Yeah, he's coming in.
It's got to be.
Danielson, who knows? But I think if they don't get Danielson or haven't signed Danielson, they can get away with it. You had to deliver one or the other. You couldn't not deliver either one of them. I think they were even past that point. Now listen, if they would have came out and denied all of this, then none of this is on them. But they never did that for either guy. But you can't let it hang out there just to sell tickets or get people to watch your TV and then not deliver either one of them. You can't do that. So, you can get away with delivering at least one. I think Punk is 100%. Then we'll see what happens with the other guy, and there's other wild rumors floating around too. So, look, AEW feels super hot right now. And for their rating to go up going head to head with the Olympics, that's very impressive. I know it was only up slightly, 1% or whatever, but they went up. And I know the Olympics, the ratings have been a disaster, but it's still like 17 million people a night watching. It's just down from its usual stand. So it's still stiff competition. And I guess they lucked out to a degree because the Olympics aren't as hot as they usually are. But, the shows are always good. They're killing it in the ratings. They've held up amazingly well against the NBA Finals and the Olympics. And it feels like a hot product. It's got a buzz around it for sure. And it feels like has an upward trajectory. And they're nipping at the heels of Raw and SmackDown in the 18-34, which is where they're going to catch them first. They're going to catch them in the 18-34 first. I mean, and when I say catch, not beat them 1 week. I'm talking catch and pass and stay ahead. That's going to be the demo where they do it first. The 18-34. 18-34-year-old male, then 18-34 overall, and then away you go. But yeah, I mean, these last few Dynamites they just felt like, wrestling feels cool again.
No, they're crazy. They're insane shows. They're just nuts. I mean, they're a feeling that I haven't had from a wrestling show. And I honestly mean this since, like peak, Monday Night Wars, WCW, WWF stuff as a kid.
That's what I said behind the paywall today. Yeah. I can't remember the last time I felt like a wrestling show was appointment television was probably fucking Nitro.
Yeah. Yeah, 1997 Nitro. It's basically the comp that I have.
Yeah, and maybe for people who liked the Attitude Era, it would be the Attitude. But again, you're still going back over 20 years. So it's like, because fucking stuff happens on the show. It's exciting.
It's nuts. Yeah, it's just a wild 2 hours. You need a cigarette when it's done. It's just, and that's rules. That's awesome. Like some dorks are getting mad that things happen on a show. Things should happen on a show. Every second something should happen on a show. That's good.
I mean, every single segment isn't a winner, but it in general, when you're done watching that show, you're like, wow, a lot of shit happened. And a lot of it was cool. And there were a couple of good matches, and there's stuff that people are talking about the next day. And that's how it should be. We have forgotten this because the other guys are so bad and have been for 20 years. WWE, you might get 1 or 2 Raws a year that feel the way feel the way Dynamite does every week. You know what I mean? It's crazy. This show's just really fucking good right now. So hopefully they can sustain that. But when the thing with AEW and the thing with Dynamite is I don't know about you, but I feel like there's just more shit coming. Like, I don't think they've peaked yet because you have the teases of Punk and Bryan Danielson and all this shit. And it's like, you feel like the best shit is still in front of us. You know, the New Japan relationship, they just keep stacking and growing that. You know, they aren't just, it wasn't just, remember we all thought Kenta might just be like a one-time one-off as like a make good or a little deal that they made. No, now Hiroshi Tanahashi is on the show.
Right. I know, it's nuts.
Like, it's you know.
And it's just like, it's like the third most important part of Dynamite last night was that Hiroshi fucking Tanahashi appeared. You know what I mean? Like not even, I don't even know if it's the third most important thing. You got the Dynamite, the United Center announcement. You got Hangman losing. Yeah, maybe, okay.
Nick Gage.
Yeah, yeah, obviously, like Nick Gage and Jericho. Like the fourth or fifth most important thing was, oh yeah, Hiroshi Tanahashi appeared on the show and challenged somebody. Like,
yeah, I mean, and I don't think we've had a chance to talk about wrestling that's really hitting on all cylinders and that we love since New Japan was rolling real good. That we're excited about talking about because it's good, not because we're excited because we get a chance to bury it. And I'd rather talk about things that I really love and that are great. You know, it might be easier to bury things, but it's way more fun to talk about wrestling when it's good. So they're going great right now. So yeah, this is the longest way to answer your question, but yes, I think they're going to do very well in the building. There you go. United Center.
Sorry, I had a dog emergency. What was the question?
Nothing. I finally just answered your question.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. I think they're going to sell out the United Center because they're going to announce that CM Punk is going to be there. So there you go. So do you 20 minutes, but I answered your question.
Right. Do you think they do enough like just now? You think like on because tomorrow is the pre-sale, Monday's the official on public. Do you think that they do enough in those 2 days that they don't have to say it? Do you think they've done enough to get at least 10,000 seats sold or whatever, or do you think then they're going to pre-sale?
When is the pre-sale?
What was that?
When is the pre-sale?
Tomorrow. It starts tomorrow.
So Friday.
Yeah. So Friday about 10 a.m.
General public.
General public is Monday.
The 2nd of July.
Yes. August. Yeah.
2nd of August, because the rumor is he cannot be announced until August 1st.
Interesting.
So it all lines up too. And I don't know that rumor, that's just the word that's been floating around, dark Twitter, things like that. But here's the thing. I don't think it matters. I think they sell it out before they even say his name because I think people are working under the assumption he's going to be there. But you have it in your back pocket, right? That you can announce him, and that's like, and they will announce him, I think. And at that point, if you haven't sold the building out, you will at that point. I was very conservative on Arthur Ashe when we talked about it. And I'm not going to be conservative anymore. It's a hot product. I mean, I am thoroughly blown away and super impressed by what they've been able to do with that New York show. I think because New York is typically the hardest market. They were untested there. It's Queens. You know what I mean? I had a lot of questions and uncertainty about that one. But they're so hot that they're going to, and they keep opening sections in Arthur Ashe. And there's rumors that Bryan Danielson may debut in Arthur Ashe. There's rumors now that they're going to do Tanahashi Moxley in Arthur Ashe. And it's like, if they announce anything like that, they can open up every seat in that building and sell the rest of them. Obstructed view, everything. So Chicago, CM Punk, I'm not going to be conservative this time. They're going to sell that bitch out. What do you think?
Yeah, I honestly have the same feeling. I mean, I know just the buzz going around Chicago is that this thing is selling like crazy, and I think anybody that was going to go to All Out, all those fans and the people that lived in Chicago locally, the people aren't kind of traveling in, I think all those people I'm probably going to buy tickets to this United Center show too. There's just an aura about running the United Center as well. That's kind of a big thing because it's a big. It's sort of this. It's hard to explain, but it's like, wow, they're really doing this, and there's some sort of thing like, hey, you know what? I haven't seen wrestling in the United Center. That's cool. That's a place that a lot of people have always said, hey, I wish WWE would run the United Center. I wish WWE would run the United Center because like I like the Allstate Arena. There's a lot of stuff to like about it, but the UC it just has a different feeling. It's in the city proper. It's a big arena. It's a big basketball arena. It's the Bulls and the Blackhawks play there. You got championship banners hanging from the roof. It just has an aura about it that the Allstate Arena doesn't. So I think there's just a general like, hey, cool, wrestling is going to be at the United Center, and you hear it all the time from people saying, I know that they like to run the Sears Center because there's some allegiance there to, that was where All In was, and they like to run Wintrust because it's a nice new arena and all that sort of stuff. But anytime they want to run the UC, they can do it, and this will be the test. But I'm with you. I think this thing sells out pretty quickly. If not sell out, sells 10,000 plus, I think, in the first 2 days, at least by Monday for sure. And then if they officially announce Punk, I think that thing gets at least 15 to 20 for sure, which is nuts.
What's the date of the show?
August 20th.
So it's Rampage.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting Rampage off to I've seen a lot of people have a lot of doubts about what Rampage is going to be just because wrestling historically, whether it's Thunder or Main Event or Superstars, you can go right down the line. These things start off as a big deal and then inevitably become C shows, right? And Khan has said from the start, it's going to be an A show. It's going to be equal to Dynamite. It's not going to do as many viewers because we saw evidence of that when Dynamite moved to that time slot. Now, they had the extra hour, which dragged down the rating, because the 11 to 12 hour was disastrous. Every time you look at the quarters, Dynamite would plummet from 11 to 12. Normal people like you go to bed. Okay, so that 11 to 12 hour was disastrous for them. But Rampage is just a 1 hour show. So it has a chance to do better than those Dynamites did. But they really have to prove that it's not going to be a B show because people are pretty dead set on the idea that it's all bluster, it's all talk. But if you're doing a show like this, a CM Punk debut, and that's the level of show I think you need to do to drill it into people's heads. This is going to be another A show. And I'm not in the camp that thinks it's quickly going to descend into a B show. I really think they mean it when they say they're going to put full effort into this, even though it's going to do less viewers. Because if people are expecting this to do 1 million viewers a week, they're not on that day and not in that time slot. That's not going to happen. But could this do a 0.3 in the demo? I think it can. I do, which would be massive for Friday at 10 o'clock, for Friday at 9 or 10, or what is it, 10 o'clock? Friday at 10, right? 10
I believe
Eastern.
so. Yeah, 10 Eastern.
Yeah, that would be massive. I mean, nothing does those kind of numbers in that slot. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard to find any negatives in what AEW is doing right now.
No, they're firing on all cylinders. They're selling tickets left and right. Their TV ratings are up. It's cool. It's fun. They're in the mix on all this stuff, and headline wise too. I mean, this is important stuff. Somebody in the No Dopes chat room mentions that this is going to be the day before SummerSlam. Rampage is the day before SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So Punk comes out there, steals the headlines, and I mentioned this on Twitter as well, and I completely kind of forgot that this was even happening. But so Monday, as I said, the general public, the Rampage tickets go on sale for the public. That also is the date that Raw is in Chicago at the Allstate Arena, which that's a crowd that usually gets a little chippy. That Chicago crowd, especially on Raw, especially if stuff's not good, like they get a little chippy.
If your wrestlers were over, they wouldn't have to worry about it.
They would, but I think they're going to have to turn down the house mic a lot because I think things going to get a little wild there. I don't know. Well, it's going to be a fascinating day, and this stuff rules. And if you're a weirdo or a dork that thinks this stuff sucks, stop being a dork. This stuff rules. It's awesome.
If Raw stinks, I hope they chant CM Punk all night.
The entire time, yeah.
If it stinks, then that's what they get. In the old days, they would try to get the fans to get it out of their system before they hit the air, but I don't think it'll work.
The old strategy, and then they did it the one time where they had Paul Heyman come out with his music, and just troll the fans for like 20 minutes till they were just burnt out, and then went, all right, now sit down and shut up. Here's the rest of our dumb show. That's the last taping I ever went to as well. But yeah, they said, all right.
Did you fall for it when you were there?
Oh, absolutely. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It was like 2 months after the Royal Rumble when he walked out or whatever. So it was justifiable that he'd come back in Chicago, but yeah, no, it was
right.
But yeah, it's going to be very. I mean, this is fun. There's jabs. We're going to talk about the quarterly calls. There's jabs left and right. There's some fun stuff. This is awesome. This is great. Like you said, the only thing that would be better if another billionaire out of nowhere said, you know what, fuck it, I want to make a wrestling company.
Yeah,
that would be incredible. It'd be great.
Mark Cuban decides.
Yeah, Mark Cuban goes, you know what, fuck this shit. I'm going to make a wrestling company. Like,
because he likes wrestling, so it has to be someone who knows what they're doing too. Like, he'd be perfect. So
yeah, Mark Cuban hires Paul Heyman and says, fuck it, let's run a wrestling company. You know what I mean?
That'd be phenomenal. Be tremendous. Okay, come over here. We want to say goodnight? All right. You're going to bed now? Good night. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? All right. The boy too, or no? Okay. All right. Why, what, he's got to poop? Oh, he went poop. Oh, good for him. Oh.
It's graphic.
All right. Okay. Yeah, he's been having trouble shitting, the boy. He's
well,
he probably doesn't want me talking about this on air, but he's 4, so
yes,
he can't
right. Well, tell him that when you're an adult, you can't stop shitting, so it gets you.
That's right. It all balances out eventually.
Right, trust me. Right. For the last 3/4 of your year of your life, you're never going to stop shitting. So it's an ebbs and flows. So
I shit constantly.
I know. It's like 8 times a day. You know what I mean?
The amount of times I shit, it's amazing. I'm like, where's it coming from?
Yeah, I don't even eat that much. I don't know where it all comes from. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. Did you finally get your Coke Z? Did you have to wait an hour and a half?
No, she brought it a long time ago.
Oh, okay. Good. Oh, whew.
Not only did I get a refreshing Coke Z, Rich, it's in my LA Rams koozie.
Oh, look at you.
Well, listen, you compliment the dress and things, you know.
This is a classic LA Rams or a modern LA Rams koozie?
It's the modern LA. It's the new logo.
Okay,
LA
that's fair.
Rams.
Yeah.
I do have an old LA Rams keychain from the original days that I'm holding on to. Yeah, that's like a relic at this point. 1994, but the keychain's probably from like the late 80s. Nobody cares. What's the next topic?
Next topic. All right, that's obviously. So we did the speculation there. CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, the latest on that. I did want to mention this: the Mat Men podcast. Andrew from the Mat Men podcast, who has had good sources before, has been right about a lot of stuff as well. He had a report this week. Some notes I wanted to point out about it as well, and then you can kind of give your quick little reactions about it. I said WWE Network partners are shocked about the CM Punk and Daniel Bryan thing. He says WWE officials are not concerned about Punk signing with another wrestling promotion. While officials are rumored to see Punk as a big signing for AEW, they were not negotiating with Punk for a return, and Punk signing with AEW is not seen as a major blow to the company. So the network partners are kind of taken aback by this. WWE officials apparently not concerned, according to them. WWE officials reportedly do see the Daniel Bryan signing as a major hit against them. He says here, this is Andrew Zarin, obviously from the Mat Men podcast, it's still saying that WWE officials are upset that the company no longer has Daniel Bryan under their banner. It is rumored that Vince McMahon is very upset that Bryan signed with AEW, and members of the company's management team are said to be very angry at other potential new signings. What do you think of? What do you make of this report here from Andrew at Mat Men?
This report is just working under the assumption that Danielson is signed.
Yes, a lot of people are. I'm not all the way in on that. A lot of people are 100% on that. I am 100% on Punk these days. I am not 100% on Daniel Bryan until that music, until Final Countdown or whatever blasts over the internet. I am not buying Daniel Bryan until he literally shows up.
I mean, my gut tells me they're both signed. And now I'm 100% on Punk. So, but we don't officially have any official report that there's pen to paper on either one of them. That's important to point out. But I do think that both of them are. I probably should have made that more clear during the Punk segment. I do think they've got Danielson, but I'm just not. If I'm 100% on Punk, I'm 99% on Danielson. It seems like you're not quite there with me, but you know, but yeah, everyone's kind of just working under the assumption that they're both done deals. Look, I don't know what to make of that. I think that it kind of ties into some of the stuff we heard on the financial call today, where Vince kind of no-sold the idea that AEW is competition. And I do think some of that is a petty sideswipe. I do. In other words, let's not acknowledge them. Let's not, let's no-sell them. But at the same time, I can totally see the attitude of they're going to do their thing, and if it doesn't preclude us from growing and doing our thing, then we really shouldn't view them any differently than any other form of entertainment. Nick Khan talks all the time. Everything's our competition. Netflix, TikTok. These are all the ones that he names. Netflix, TikTok, sleep.
Sleep. I love that. That was the quote that I circled and said, oh, Joe is going to want to talk about this quote later for sure.
Like he labels
we
all of these
compete
things.
with sleep.
Sport,
yeah.
The NBA, he all of these things. And they lump AEW in with that, as opposed to they are our direct wrestling competition and we need to take them down. I believe them when they say that that's not the attitude anymore.
Oh, no, for sure. Yeah. No,
I really think Nick Khan has changed the culture in that way. And I do think it has permeated into Vince's head to some degree.
Oh, for sure. And I think this is something that's not completely new from Vince either. I mean, for a long amount of years, it's been clear from the direction that his company goes that he views, obviously, the brand as the draw. We are WWE, and these are our performers, and they are largely interchangeable. Yes, there are a few guys that obviously he holds near and dear and truly believes are his stars or whatever. But we talked about this weeks and weeks and weeks ago about Punk and Danielson. Both of those guys are way more valuable to AEW than they are to WWE at this point. And some people might, and I think some people actually kind of were like, what do you guys, they didn't understand it. CM Punk and Bryan Danielson mean so much more for AEW if they walk out there than if Bryan Danielson walked up on Raw, on SmackDown and Raw or whatever. Because we've seen it. He's been doing it for, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't affect that company all that much. It doesn't matter. The wheels are still going to be in motion. Everything is going to be fine. The TV deals are going to be fine. It doesn't matter that Bryan Danielson is in that company or not in that company. He
would pop one rating and they'd be right back to where they were the next week.
Right. And Punk maybe a little bit more, but I think, largely I don't think Punk.
Same thing.
Yeah, it would be like a few week thing, but that'd be the same show. It just would have CM Punk on it and he'd be a part of it.
Because the show stinks.
Right.
And everyone knows it stinks and it would just end up right. This is what happens when they do anything big. We just saw it with John Cena. Why would it be any different with these
right,
ones?
He's already just a guy on the show.
We're watching it happen. Now he is selling tickets.
Yeah, for sure. He's always going to do that. Always going to be.
That should be pointed out. He is selling tickets, and I think these guys would sell tickets. But in terms of the TV, I mean, no, it would go right back to where it was because the show is bad, and now the competing show is so much better. I mean, that's why you're starting to see this slow turn of the tide with the ratings, particularly in the younger demos. But anyway, go ahead and finish what you were saying.
But yeah, just I think value wise, like they're just I totally buy, like you said, in that room, them thinking whatever, who cares? Yeah, Bryan Danielson's not going to be on a roster. That's fine. We're cool. We're writing SmackDown right now. We're writing an Uso Roman Reigns backstage segment right now. It doesn't matter. So it's just it's and Zarian said the last thing that he said here. Was that the WWE, he said a WWE broadcasting partner, a source at a WWE broadcasting partner, said they're more concerned about CM Punk and Daniel Bryan going to AEW than WWE is at the moment. And the source said, quote, WWE is not as concerned about the possible Daniel Bryan and CM Punk signings to AEW as we are. And again, like, as you said, some people can read that as, WWE being like, we're not going to give them the time of the day or we're going to, but I'm with you. I truly believe that in that building, they don't care. And that's what we said when people were saying, Vince McMahon thought that Aleister Black was good, and I'm sure somebody else fired him or whatever. They're post. You have to get your head around what this company is. Go listen to that conference call. Go listen to what Nick Khan's talking about. Go listen to what Vince. They are. We said it months ago. They are so far nowhere near a wrestling company at all anymore. That's not what they do. That's not their business. Nick Khan is not in the business of running a wrestling company. He's in the business of running a multimedia company.
He says that every time someone
Every single time he is asked about it, that's what he says.
We are not a wrestling company. We don't even say that in the building, which they haven't for years, to be fair.
Right, but there was the fake, we're not wrestling, we're sports entertainment thing for a while, right, which was largely, either tax dodging or whatever. But like, I 100% believe 100% believe that now in that building, in that room or whatever, the bell to bell, the actual ring of a wrestling ring bell, or meaningless. The ropes, the ring, nothing. It does not matter. That's just what they do. That's what their show is about. But it's a multimedia company with a show about wrestling. And then if you even listen on the conference call, they're saying, hey, we would love to do a whole lot of shit that has nothing to do with wrestling.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Scripted shows,
right.
Unscripted shows. Because as he's been saying for months and months, Marvel. We want to be Marvel. We want to be able to do, multimedia thing. So that's why I can totally buy them no selling AEW, because while they're in look, we know, okay, it's absurd to say that they're not competition because WWE can keep saying they're not wrestling, but they are, and AEW is wrestling, and that's who's taking their market share. TikTok is not taking their market share.
Right. We talked about it a few weeks ago. When they get back into the room and have to talk TV deals and stuff, they can't say, "Well, we're Marvel." They're going to say, "No, you're not. You're wrestling. Shut up, dude." They can say that all they want, but yeah, when it actually gets down to sitting down in a room and discussing TV deals or whatever, they're a wrestling company at that point. They're a pro wrestling company when they do that. But
if Nick Khan, who has proven to be a genius in the sports media landscape, okay, if he's telling Vince, hey, listen, it doesn't matter how much they grow. As long as we grow and do our thing, we're still going to get ours, regardless of what they get. Don't worry about them. Don't worry about whether Tony Khan makes money or not. Worry about, I can totally see Nick Khan approaching it that way, because he doesn't have decades of being in a culture where you have to crush your competition in pro wrestling. He's not part of that. He has a singular focus. Can we improve the next deal? And if he feels like he can improve the next deal, he's not going to care what AEW is doing. And maybe that has permeated into Vince's brain. And while they may be keeping one eye on AEW, I don't think they're completely full of shit when they say that they don't consider it direct head-to-head competition. I do think they may be no selling them to a degree just to, troll them a little or make it put off the impression that they're being ignored to kind of keep them in their place. But at the same time, I really do think I could see at least Nick Khan having a completely different perspective on wrestling competition than Vince McMahon has historically.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think it's probably better. I honestly, at this point in their company and where they are, it's the right move. They've spent and invested a lot of money in competing with people that aren't on their level. And they've done that for years and years and years and years. And it took a wake-up call to say, Vince, what are you doing? Like, who cares? You're so far ahead of these guys. You're in a different stratosphere. Just don't worry about it. But that's Vince McMahon's MO. No matter what, crush the competition. Anybody you can argue it all you want. That's always been his MO, and it's obviously worked very well for him. But it's gotten him to a point now where the competition is so far behind that, yeah, I don't think it's an unreasonable strategy to do. Now, will it come to, will it be a successful strategy if, coming to TV deal renewal time when people look at AEW and go, hey, well, this wrestling company that is your competition or whatever, they're doing this and this and this, so we're going to give them money instead of giving you guys money. Yeah, that might be a problem. But for right now, it's like, yeah, you're already way ahead of them. Just keep going. Just see what you can do. You're a content multimedia factory right now. You're that.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me present it this way. If Nick Khan, and I don't know if this is the case, but if he is of the belief that regardless of how AEW performs ratings-wise, if WWE is still going to get, let's say, a 25% increase in their TV rights deal next round, and AEW is going to get a 40 or 50% increase, or they're both going to get, if he still projects the same increase that he's been projecting regardless of AEW's performance, do you think he cares whether AEW gets that money or not, as long as they're getting theirs?
Right. Yeah, and that's another big
my point here, and I don't know if I'm being clear.
No, I get it, because Vince always has cared what other people. He's still eliciting the name of Ted Turner and stuff, and it's like, bro, you're right. The idea that Nick Khan probably has in the building is, who gives a shit? Like, we just made $8 billion. Who fucking cares if that other company made $1 billion? And that's a different approach to business, and I think a smarter approach to business. Honestly, keep growing your stuff. Don't worry what your competition is doing. I'm with him if that is
I don't know.
his direction.
See, I don't know if that's the mindset,
Right.
but I could see that being the mindset. It wouldn't stun me if that's
and he
mindset.
comes from the sports world too, and this is another interesting perspective that I think a lot that you and I have that a lot of other people that don't come from the sports world. Major League Baseball doesn't really worry if the NBA is getting popular. You know what I mean? Like, yes, largely, like it'd be ideal for for Major League Baseball to be the most popular sport in America. They're probably going to get the most money if that's the case. You know what I mean? But to them, as long as they make $1 billion on a television deal, it doesn't really bother them that much that the NBA also makes $1 billion on a TV deal. You know what I mean? Like, as long as they all get a taste, and as long as they're not, I mean, they're competitors in the sense that sports fans have to decide which one they're going to watch sometimes, or you have to be more devoted to one or the other. But largely, they're not. It's not a zero-sum game. Both can exist and both can thrive on their own, and both companies should worry about themselves first and foremost before worrying about the other ones. But yeah, it's akin to that. It's akin to Rob Manfred being like, God damn it, we cannot let the NBA survive, and it's like, who cares? Whatever, man. Like, they're another sport. It's a completely different thing than we are, and that's where I think Nick Khan, who comes from that world, might think the same thing. Who gives a shit, man? Let him make $1 billion. I don't care.
So it could be bluster. I mean, I'm not saying it's not. I mean, it could be, but I could totally see it being this sort of mindset as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what do you want to tell me, Nolan? What's going on?
I went poop.
You went poop?
Nice. Congrats.
Give me a high five. Go ahead.
Mommy got medicine and you stick them in your butt and then I went poop in the poop. Just don't be mad.
I'm not mad. I'm happy that you went poop. I'm not mad. Mommy put medicine in your butt and then you did a poop. Yeah. What you don't realize at 4 years old is this is perfect content for this show. Like, this is exactly what we do. Like, this is. Oh, I know what a suppository is. I do. This is tremendous content.
Like right now, he's like a different kid.
Look how happy he is. He's light on his feet.
Before that, he was shivering. He was not eating. He didn't eat all day.
Wow.
He had problems.
Feeling light, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, tremendous job. Congrats on the poop. All right. I'm going to tuck you later in that dress. Tell you that. Yeah. So there you go. An update on the,
there you go.
The boys.
He pooped.
On the boys' poop.
Mommy put the thing in my butt and then I pooped. So, yeah.
Well,
Congrats. Congrats on the poop, yeah.
Nice job out of him. Big smile on his face.
Yeah. He's like, an old guy or like a dad who's constipated. He's bouncing around. I could tell he had a glow to him.
Yeah, he was standing there for like 3 minutes.
Just waiting.
At the bit. I'm like, you have to be quiet. I'm holding my finger to my nose. I'm like, because you were talking. And he just could not wait to tell me about this poop. So
yeah, you should write the Andrew Rich, the producer Andrew Rich has a great. You should write this down and play this audio back to him in 10 years, and he'll be horrified and upset at you.
Let me tell you something. I hope neither one of them ever listen to a second.
I was gonna say.
Are you kidding me? Jeez, those 2015 tapes.
Well,
half of those stories are about their mother. I mean,
maybe when they're 24, maybe in 20 years you could listen to that one. So yeah, 14. I don't know if you want to hear those. But you really don't want to hear them ever, to be honest. Now that I think about it, so that's
no. Think about that.
Yeah, no, I'd rather not. So
like if your dad has some journal of his sexual conquest.
Yeah, you're right. I'm already uncomfortable. Just
would you read about your dad?
No.
At the sock hop with Judy Taylor.
Dancer.
Finger blasting her in the bathroom. You want to read about that?
I guess I'm trying to think. Yeah, he was born in 1950. He'd probably go to a sock hop. So I think when did the sock hops end? When did probably got a few sock hops till about 62, right?
He's a little young for the sock hops, but he may have gotten some late era sock hops.
Yeah, possibly.
Like I don't know if Susie Taylor was wearing like a poodle skirt.
right. There's no poodle skirt.
Like the poodle skirt that I don't know about.
Yeah.
But
his slick back hair and his leather jacket and his convertible.
Right. He's got he's the rolled up jeans with the fucking white socks.
Right.
Like I don't know if your dad was full on he's too young for the heart of the sock hops, but could there have been a lingering sock hop in like 1962 or 3 when he was like 12 or 13? I think so. You should ask him about it.
I think next time I'll talk to him and ask him about his.
You ask him if he finger blasted anybody in the bathroom.
Finger blasted. What was it? Susie? What was her name?
Susie Taylor.
Susie Taylor. Yeah, if he finger blasted.
Sounds
Susie
like a
Taylor.
girl from the 60s.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Susie Taylor.
Susie Taylor. Yeah, she lives down the block. Yeah, Susie Taylor from down the block. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, you wouldn't want to read a journal.
I would not.
The equivalent of.
Yeah.
You don't want to find your dad's little black book from the orgy he had at Woodstock. You don't have any interest in that, right? Your dad rolling around in the mud with a couple of hippies while Richie Havens is performing at Woodstock. Like you don't want to read about that in depth the way that I'm describing it right now.
Yeah.
Right. That's not something you're interested in. You're so uncomfortable right now just even thinking about that.
You're right. You got it. You nailed it. So
yes.
Yes. Hopefully they never do listen to that. So anything else on WWE Q2 you wanted to go over? Brandon Thurston, obviously WrestleNomics, has all the coverage you could possibly want from that. Voice of Wrestling Podcast Network, obviously, this week. He'll have all the details there. You can also follow him at Brandon Thurston and at WrestleNomics as well. But, another good year, obviously. They keep making money because they make money like crazy. So,
yeah, and that's the thing. And they make, just multitudes of millions.
$265.5 million Q2 revenue.
Yeah, that's just quarter 2. I mean, they're going to make $1 billion again, and this is why it's like when I say on Twitter that they're in a completely different stratosphere than AEW. That's where you can see why they would say that they don't consider them competition. It's a completely different animal revenue wise. Will it come to pass? But we've been asking that question a long time. Will it come to pass this time around? I don't know. But there's no end to the bubble in sight, and they've got the guy working for them, who that's the guy you want. I mean, there's no one else in the world you want forecasting this stuff than the guy that he has in the room. So, is it all bluster for the investors? Are they concerned more than they're letting on? Maybe some listeners have a different opinion on that. I don't see it that way yet. The other thing, too, you have to consider, Rich, is that Vince McMahon is way more confident in his product than we are. So you have to factor that in. He probably doesn't recognize the massive issues in the product that we have been talking about for the last half decade on this show. So from that perspective, too, where we are, we're baking that into our analysis. Oh, well, the show's terrible and it's not going to get better. So he may have a completely different perspective on that.
Right. I highly doubt he finalizes the script and goes, well, that's a fucking terrible show. All right, guys, let's do it. So,
right.
Yeah.
So they probably think the show is good and there's just other outside reasons why people aren't watching, and we're going to get them back. And, we're going to sign all these great licensing deals. And that might be the next frontier for them. It may not even, like TV money, Nick Khan might be on to the next thing. He might be viewing it as, all right, well, the next frontier is licensing deals. The next frontier is movie franchises. The next frontier is whatever the fuck they've got cooking up with all of his cronies that he's hiring from his Fox Sports days and everything else, and creating all this original television content. That might be what they're viewing. They might be operating 2 or 3 steps down the line, whereas AEW is still operating on, okay, we're waiting to score our first massive television deal. And that's what AEW should be focusing on. Okay, their core wrestling product and getting a 150% raise on the $45 million television contract. That should be their focus. Okay. But WWE, and this is why I say they're playing a different game. They might be focusing on what the next thing is, because they can't, how much more money can they squeeze out of their content at this point? There's not, you could always get more, I suppose, but there has to be new revenue streams. And I think that's what they're looking at now. Who's the guy that they just hired from Fox Sports? Jamie
Horowitz.
Yeah, they just hired Jamie Horowitz, and these are not people that are coming in to tighten up your fucking wrestling product.
No, yeah. AEW, every new AEW hire is like a wrestling dude. You know what I mean? It's CM Punk, it's Bryan Danielson, it's this guy, it's Jerry Lynn, it's Dean Malenko. You know what I mean? It's those guys. And WWE is hiring Jamie Horowitz. You know what I mean?
They're hiring the guy who created First Take.
Right.
That's who they're bringing.
Exactly. It's different universes. Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. They're operating on a different plane. So this is why I genuinely believe it's not all bluster. I think in the room, they don't necessarily consider them competition the way that wrestling fans do. So, and I'll tell you what, on the same token, I don't think Tony Khan has to worry about WWE. It is in his favor how bad their television is. Don't get me wrong. Okay. But as long as he keeps doing his thing and keeps presenting crowd-pleasing wrestling shows and television and stays on this path, they're going to be just fine.
Oh, there's an empty market right now for a wrestling show, and they're filling it. They're absolutely filling it.
And we could have the same conversation in reverse. What the fuck does it matter what kind of deals WWE signs or what kind of money they make as long as AEW keeps growing? The one thing you would fear is if WWE gets to a point where they're finally annoyed by these guys and decide, you know what, we're going to, and you know, this was their strategy for a while. We're going to change the game by just overpaying everyone.
Right, we're going to poach talent. We're going to give Kenny Omega so much money that he can't reasonably turn us down.
But what's going to happen then is you're going to have yourselves a billionaire pissing contest. Because, and I think the reason that they don't really want to go down that road is because the Khans have more money than Vince McMahon, okay? And if they get into that kind of battle, all right, maybe you can coax Tony Khan into some billionaire dick measuring contest and he'll lose some money, okay? But WWE is a publicly traded company. And I think we've talked about this. Nick Khan was probably like, what are you doing? We shouldn't be paying these Carl Anderson millions of dollars. For what reason? Let him go. Just let him go.
Right.
We need to worry about our bottom line.
We'll find another guy to replace him. He's not that important.
And you know, and that's something that Vince said today. And people are jumping all over that quote where he's like, you know, we're not really, I'm paraphrasing. He's like, we're really not concerned with them. Maybe we'll provide them with some more talent down the line. And that's such an interesting thing for him to say, because you can take it one of two ways. One, he's slighting them by saying they're using all of our former stars, right? Which isn't even the case. But you know how Vince is delusional and he might think that, okay? Or what he's saying is, oh, they can keep signing these people. I don't care for all the reasons that we just talked about. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to pay the Big Show millions of dollars to be a part-time wrestler and show up on Legends nights. They can have him. I'm not paying Christian 7 figures because he's Christian. And you know what? If they want CM Punk, they can have him too. I think that's what Vince meant by that. People are going to take it as, oh, yeah, Vince is saying, you know, and he's right. It's all ex-WWE guys. You know, that's not what he's saying there. What he's saying is they can keep signing these people if they want. It's okay. We're not concerned.
Yeah, I read it the same way you do. It doesn't matter. You know, they can sign whoever they want. It doesn't matter to us. Right. And he's right. He's not wrong.
Yeah, because they have investors to answer to, and I think it's more important for them to be fiscally responsible and put as much money as they can to those bottom lines for those dividends and to get that stock price up and everything else. That's more important than getting into a bidding war over fucking whoever. I was going to say Andrade, but he was not a bidding war. He just got cut. Insert name here.
Yeah.
He's not going to get in a bidding war over Christian. Whereas 10 years ago, they would have. And quite honestly, I don't think they should be getting into bidding wars over fucking Christian. Or quite honestly, over Bryan Danielson. Why? For the reason we just said. He's not going to make a difference for them.
Right. He didn't, and he won't, and there's just not the company is not set up for guys like that to be valuable to them right now. There was a Nick Khan quote that I'm reading right now that he was talking about. It was when they were talking about Ted Turner, and they're talking about, you know, I don't see AEW as competition. Nick Khan says, it's sort of like a horse race where the horse has blinders on. You know? They're running
Right,
in
yeah.
the same track, sort of, but their horse only cares about winning, and it doesn't really care what horse is in second, what horse is in third, how close the other horse
Great
is.
fucking- well, this guy's a master. with quotes.
We want to win. We're just going to win. We don't give two shits. The other horse can finish 10 seconds behind us, 20 seconds behind us, 30 seconds behind us. Doesn't matter.
We're getting ours.
Right.
Yep.
We're going to win the race. That's all that matters. So we have to put these blinders on and only worry about what's ahead.
We get the winner's purse.
Yeah.
That's all we're concerned with. You can get that show money. We're getting that win money. That's what a great way to put it.
Yep.
We're in the same race, but we're wearing blinders. That is fucking brilliant. That's as brilliant as nobody gives a fuck that you're tired. That's just it's the same level of brilliant.
And we compete with sleep.
Yeah.
We consider everything competition, including sleep.
Don't tell people you're tired. No one gives a fuck that you're tired. You're just telling them you're weak. That was like an eye-opening quote to me. I never tell anyone I'm tired now. I will never tell anyone I'm tired again because I think about that quote. Because he's so right. No one cares. Has anyone ever told you, "Oh, I'm so tired today," and you didn't think to yourself, "I don't give a fuck."
Yeah, you think, "Oh man, let's talk about this and what we can do to improve."
No one exactly. I don't want to talk about your fucking how tired you are. No one cares. You know, it's such a on point. It's such a simple thing that I never thought about, but it's true. It makes you come off like a fucking dude. No one cares. I will never say that again. Big Dick Nick.
There he is, Big Dick Nick, our guy, our boy. Big
long
Dick
bone
Nick,
tone.
so.
Big Dick Nick versus long bone tone. Right?
The battle of the cons. All right. So that is WWQ2. As I said, WrestleNomics will probably have a lot of coverage about that. Brandon Thurston, obviously, at Brandon Thurston, at WrestleNomics. WrestleNomics Radio on the Voice Wrestling Podcast Network this week. We'll have plenty more about that. Let's get into some actual wrestling as well. A lot of stuff happened over the last weekend that we wanted to touch on here. The first one I wanted to touch on, and you can see it from our thumbnail on this video here, Matt Cardona versus Nick Gage at GCW Homecoming, July 24th. We had talked about this a few weeks back. We did not preview it last week, but this was the big match here where Matt Cardona's kind of been trolling GCW, trolling kind of the hardcore wrestling fans or whatever. I've loved this gimmick or this entire angle so far. I think Matt Cardona is one of the perfect guys to do this for, and him going up against Nick Gage, the god of GCW, the patron saint of GCW, is just perfect. And they had a match here at Homecoming over the weekend, and it was an interesting match. Joe, what did you think of it? And then we'll kind of talk about the post match and some other stuff as well. But what did you think of the structure of the match? What did you think of the actual match itself and the entire story? I guess now that it's at least partially wrapped up here, at least the Nick Gage Matt Cardona portion of the story. I
mean, like a lot of Nick Gage matches, it fucking sucked, but it was such a cool spectacle that you come away liking it. It was an overbooked mess, but he has such. The thing about Nick Gage is he has such an aura around him, particularly when he's wrestling in front of a GCW crowd. And he has so much of the right kind of charisma for that atmosphere that most of the time, it doesn't really matter whether, because I talked about this behind the paywall, but Nick Gage looks the part. He looks like a bad motherfucker. Nick Gage talks the part. You hear that guy talk and you're like, yep. Don't want to run into him.
Yeah, that guy could kill me if he wanted to. So
yes, and probably wants to kill me and can do it. But then the bell rings and he moves like an 80-year-old man. Like there's nothing intimidating about watching him fight. Like when the match starts, you're like, I can kick that guy's ass with minimal effort. He can barely move. I would take his fucking pizza cutter from him and just tackle him and hold him down until the cops came because he can't move. But it doesn't matter because he has such incredible charisma and aura that it just and Cardona. That spot where he did that dainty little swing of the light tube.
Oh, he got it. He gets it so much. I love it.
He gets it. It's brilliant. Like, I'm such a polished television WWE factory guy that I don't even know how to swing this thing.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the match and if you haven't seen the thing, so he gets in there and by the way, when he enters, the crowd is just, I mean, he can't even get to the ring because the crowd just giving him middle fingers, booing him and all that sort of stuff. And the same thing for Nick Gage. Nick Gage comes out and like always, they just mosh around him. It takes him 20 minutes to get to the ring or whatever. It's just an incredible atmosphere. But then, yeah, so they have a normal wrestling match for a second. Matt Cardona kind of trying to play it up kind of normally. And then, yeah, Nick Gage brings some light tubes in and then Cardona goes, okay, I'm going to use this one. So he picks up one and he just kind of goes like, tap, you know what I mean? He just kind of with one hand, he doesn't swing it. He just kind of goes, like just kind of beep.
Almost like it scared him a little when it broke.
Like he wasn't quite sure what was going to happen. So he went, oop. And then the crowd goes, boo, fuck you. You don't get it. And it's so good. And the announcers who are, hit or miss, but Dave Prazak was on and he was good, goes, oh, that baby, he has no idea what he's doing. Like, it's just awesome. It's so perfect.
Yeah. Which, by the way, no offense to Dave Prazak, but you couldn't pay me enough to work with Kevin Gill.
Oh my God.
I don't want to be associated with him. I would not even want to be associated with the guy. He is so brutally awful. And
it's the worst. It's not good when Schlack, who may or may not be a Nazi, is not the worst person on the commentary booth. You know what I mean? There's a 3-man booth. Yeah. One of them may or may not be a Nazi, and he's the second best guy in the booth. So that's.
Does anyone like Kevin Gill, even the hardcore GCW?
I'm not sure, but he was real bad on this. So the problem with Kevin Gill is on this show, so you had a real announcer here in Dave Prazak who knows what he's doing or whatever and can call a great match. You had Schlack, who was kind of the comedy fodder or whatever. And then you had Kevin Gill, who don't think knew what he was supposed to do. So instead, he just decided to make fun of Matt Cardona's wrestling figures the entire time.
Over.
And every 2 seconds going, hey, I think Matt Cardona probably puts those dolls up his ass. Yeah, fucking dork. What a fucking dork, his fucking dolls. And it's like, okay, we get it, man. We got it. Like,
this pussy with his dolls and his toys. Dude, you said it 19 times.
I know, we get it. He has dolls. It's okay.
He filled every space of dead air with, a really hacky fucking dolls are for dorks thing. And, you want to get off a couple of those. I get it because it adds to the, but I mean, he ran out of material. I mean, it was really enough, but he's always that way. Like it's between that and, telling people to suck his dick if they don't like the match that's happening. And he's so off-putting and bad. And I get that GCW is kind of like the best way I could put it. It's dirtbag wrestling. And I mean that, I don't even think they take offense to that. That's the vibe they're going for. And it's like, on one hand, he kind of fits that aesthetic. On the other hand, he's just so over the top and cringe that I really do think he just detracts from it. He's not clever enough to pull it off without being crass. Is that the best way I can put it?
I think so. And in this match in particular, this is one that you don't have to do a whole lot of work here. The story kind of tells itself. The story is obvious here. Matt Cardona, the former Zack Ryder, is here. He's from the big leagues. He thinks this is beneath him or whatever. That's fine. You get it right there. The crowd is doing that work for you. You don't have to. All you really have to say is, I can't believe this guy would be so, I can't believe he'd say this shit, or like, who's he to talk? He's fucking Zack Ryder, and he's out here talking like he's a, big time main eventer or whatever. Like, he doesn't know shit. Like, this, that's all you needed. It's all you needed, and it set the stage. But it's just, they did it a little too over the top, and it stunk because the match itself didn't need a whole lot. It really, the story had told itself. GCW did a great job telling the story as well, and it didn't need the, let me talk about Matt Cardona putting dolls up his butt, thing 15 times. Yeah.
Gage knows who he is and understands what he has to do. Cardona is, like you said before, he is owning this, and he knows exactly what he needs to do. And the commentary, if anything, detracted and didn't. But that's the story with GCW every time out. So we're not exactly, breaking new ground by burying Gill. But Cardona needed security to get to the ring, and then worked it to perfection. To his credit, he came out in the all white, and I'm like, he's all in.
Yeah, he gets it. I did the exact same thing. When he came out and he was wearing white, I just gave myself, I was like, yes, dude
he's
gets
gonna
it.
Bleed like a motherfucker.
Yep, he 100% gets it. Because I was a little worried watching it when the match was started, when it was building up. I was wondering, well, man, how into this is Matt Cardona? Like, because you always hear the stories, or Dark Side of the Ring talked about it with David Arquette, where Arquette was like, yeah, dude, I'm into it. And then was kind of just like, ooh, wait, hold on. Like, this is a lot. This is way more than I thought it was going to be. And I kind of wondered if Cardona would have that same thing, or if he realized when he got there, all right, look, guys, I don't do too much to me. Keep it kind of easy. But he walked out with white, and I was like, he's going to fucking bleed like a pig. And this is awesome. He gets it.
Yeah. It's, and then he went out there, and listen, he He bled. He did it. He did the
yeah.
thing. I mean, he had the death match, and give him credit. Same as Jericho this week on TV. I mean, they went out there and they did Gage's match, and off the charts heat the whole way. They did the angle where they teased Ricky Shane Page turning on his boys and joining up with Gage, but that was a swerve. So the RSP Gage thing, just it's that we're going to continue on with that. But at that point, that's where it was getting a little overbooked and messy. But their fans don't give a shit.
No,
it's
they
a
don't
different
care.
kind of fan. They're there to get drunk, and
they're there for entrances. They're there for some stunts, and they're there for the post match to celebrate or to boo. That's most of the other stuff doesn't matter.
The things that bother us about GCW don't bother any of these people that go to their shows. It's just, and that's why I've always said I commend them for their growth and their success, even if most of the time what they're presenting is not for me. I don't like their shows, and I used to force myself to watch their shows, and I never thought the shows were good. I shouldn't say never. They had a couple shows I thought were decent, but most of the time I come away thinking I just wasted 2.5, 3 hours of my life. I never liked these shows. There's usually maybe one hot angle or one match that I like. Now I don't watch their shows anymore. I'm not watching their fucking undercard. I will come in for a big main event like this. That's enough game changer for me. I get my fill. And I enjoyed this. I mean, how could you not? Like, as a wrestling fan, it doesn't have, it's not great, but it's a death match coming in. So what you're looking for, and I'm not a big death match guy, but if you give me that kind of heat and a hot crowd like that and a story that's working, I'm going to find a way to appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. It was just like this week with Gage and Jericho. It's all about, and a great death match and a well-built death match is all about the anticipation of stuff happening. The matches that there's a lot of death matches out there where the bell rings and guys just hit each other with shit and for 10 minutes and who cares? You know what I mean? It's all about is it going to happen? And that's people that get deathmatch, people that understand, and people like Onita and people that were able to really make money with deathmatch, Foley and Funk and those guys understood that it's all about the anticipation of something happening. It's all about the nervousness of, is this going to happen or is it not going to happen? And that's what you got with this Gage Cardona, where they have a normal match and then Cardona, for 5-10 minutes into the match, he hasn't taken one bump into anything. He's hitting Nick Gage with stuff. He's reversed and thrown Nick Gage into tables and into ladders and into doors and into glass and into all that sort of stuff. And it was all about, man, is Cardona not going to take anything? Is he going to be okay? And then it's all about that one moment where Cardona is standing up and celebrating and Nick Gage gets up with the light tube and you go, oh shit, he's going to get him this time. And he gets him and he puts him through the glass and he does that. So it's all about building up towards that anticipation. It was the same thing with Jericho too. It was the exact same thing this week. And that is when deathmatch wrestling is good. I've always say that's just a great wrestling match in general, though. That just happens to have weapons and it just happens to have deathmatch aura and elements to it. And that is a big distinction because a lot of death matches, it's just bell rings and guys hit each other with shit. That does nothing for me, and it really does nothing for long-term storytelling. But something like this is just a great wrestling story done in this style and in this deathmatch style. And this one was all about the anticipation. Will he or won't he? Will Cardona bleed? Will he get hit? How much is he going to bleed? All that sort of stuff. It was all about that. And once you got that, it kind of lost its luster about 10 minutes in. Once Cardona was just getting destroyed, I kind of got bored of it. You know what I mean? Once Gage is just stabbing Cardona with, light tubes or whatever, I kind of lose it a little bit. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, I get it. I understand now what we're doing here. But that first 10 minutes was awesome because it was just what's that first bump going to be? What is Cardona really going to do here? Or is he going to find a way to kind of avoid or not take any big bumps? And I thought they did a really, really good job of telling that story over the last 10 minutes with Cardona really running the show and really having the structure there. So yeah, I thought it was really, really fun to watch, even if, the last 10 minutes and the last 15 minutes or whatever started to kind of bore me a little bit up until the eventual actual finish there where Matt Cardona pins Nick Gage and wins the GCW championship. And this was much talked about as well. Post-match, fans pelting the ring with empty bottles and trash and all that sort of stuff. And a little bit of controversy this week about that. Where do you land on this? Dave Meltzer's saying that he heard that there were plants that were doing it. We were told point blank from multiple sources in GCW, people there, people involved in the company, all that sort of stuff, that did not happen, that the empty bottles and trash and everything getting thrown in the ring was organic. It was not, planted or there wasn't this idea, okay, when Cardona wins, everybody throwing everything in the ring. Like, where do you stand on this now, a week after the event and seeing it play out?
Well, they swear there were no plants. And plants don't mean, we're paying people to come do something. Plants could just be ring crew at ringside.
Right. Hey, guys, here's some bottles. When Cardona wins, throw stuff in the ring, and then people might start after that. Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's, what that could mean, too. I mean, I don't think Meltzer was implying that they paid people to be in the crowd to throw stuff. I think he was just saying the company itself kicked off all of that by starting the bottle throwing, which was to emulate the Ricky Shane Page angle from a year earlier where they did the same thing, or however long ago that was. But, MLJ told us that absolutely didn't happen. Joey Janela told us privately that absolutely didn't happen. So what Rich is saying, like, people in the company are like, it's absurd. There were no plants. It was organic. And if that's the case, that's fine. I don't have a problem. I think that's good heat. I mean, I know someone could get hurt and all that. I understand that. Look, I don't have a problem with people who think it's lowbrow and shouldn't ever happen. I don't have a problem with that take, because we have seen people get injured and people can get hurt, whether it's fans or people inside the ring. The most famous example, Parita Morgan, that's why he has fucking one eye. But it's like, look, if you look at wrestlers, they all loved the reaction that he got universally.
Oh yeah, well, he loved it too. I mean, he was in the ring soaking it up too. I mean, he could have, if he really felt like he was in danger, he rolls out of that ring immediately and gets to the back. He's in there chanting and celebrating or whatever. He was eating it up. If you're a wrestler, you love that shit.
Yeah, they love, but wrestlers are a different breed. It's like, and they're willing to risk injury for that kind of heat. But if it's a cool organic moment, I don't mind it. Even if I respect the opinion of people who are like, that's horrible and should never happen and it's not safe, that's fine. To me, if it's a one-off organic thing and there's no harm, no foul, then what's the problem? I thought it was cool, that he got that kind of reaction. And I came away from the match and the post-match thinking, man, and allegedly it drew about 1,600 fans. So the angle drew money. I thought it was going to be a one-off, but about halfway through the match, I was like, Cardona needs to win. I'm watching this thinking he needs to fucking win. And he did, because it's like, I was thinking there's more money in this. Like, you can't.
Oh yeah. This is such a smart idea. Such a smart idea. If he's in and he's down to do this, there's a lot of money to be made here.
Yes. I'm like, if this is a one-off, it's a shame. But if you can only get the guy in for one match, it is what it is. But I'm like, he needs to win though. Like, hopefully he's into this, because there's definitely more money in another match here. If that's what I'm thinking halfway through, I'm like, if Cardona wins, forget it. And then they did the RSP thing, and I'm like, oh, well, he must be losing because they're transitioning to Gage RSP again. So I was surprised when Cardona then hit his fucking dorky WWE finisher.
That another perfect thing too. Yeah, the fucking
right.
I forget even what he calls it, and people are gonna comment or whatever, but it's such a dumb move, and it looks so you don't realize how stupid it looks in like an actual pro wrestling ring and not a WWE ring. So when he's doing it, you're just like, what is he doing? Like, what a dumb move. But it's great. He just gets it, because he could have won with anything. He could have won with a power bomb, or he could have made up a new move, but it's just so good that he uses
something with a table or a weapon, or no, he fucking wins it with his dorky
the radio silence, the jumping leg lariats. The radio silence. Yes. I love it.
They played the WWE theme when he first came out. Yeah. Oh, radio. And everyone's like, they want to fucking kill him. I mean, and I thought Gage was going to kick out of that, and he didn't. And I was like, this is perfect, because, they're going to make so much. And then he gets pelted with the garbage, and you can't even get him out of there. And you're like, oh, wow, this is just, you might have to consider a bigger building for the rematch. And it's like, so no, the garbage throwing, I'm not anti an organic reaction. If they had plants there, it loses every bit of coolness it had. To me, that sucks everything away. I no longer am interested. I no longer care. because it's not organic anymore. To me, it's no different than TNA or WCW tapings in Disney where they hold up the yay and the boo signs. It's no different than Edge and Randy Orton having a match which is filmed like a movie where they can take breaks and redo spots. It's no longer real. You're subverting the art. And at that point, now I'm no longer interested. And now it really is just dangerous for no reason if you are using plants. But we're told they didn't use plants. I have no reason not to believe MLJ or Joey Janela. If they're lying to us, they're lying to us. I don't think they are. Joey Janela has always been very forthright with us, has he not? I mean,
absolutely. Yeah. I don't think we've gotten BS by him once. So
no, he's he's been good to us. He's a good guy, and I don't, so I will take them at their word that there were no plants throwing the bottles. So to me, that's that. We'd be having a very different conversation if there were plants and it was exposed that there were plants, because I think that's bullshit. And at that point, to me, if the reactions are forced or led by the promotion, now they're not real, and now I'm not interested.
Right, which we had some discussions with people that I think come at it from a different angle and would say, well, all of wrestling is, you're leading people to reactions. But you and I think we're on the exact same wavelength there. I completely I think it's all about getting to that story and then letting the audience kind of take it from there. That you've done a great job of building the story. You've done a great job of building this up. Now it's up to the audience to kind of take it that last little bit, take it home, do whatever it is. I mean, your job is done now. You've built up the story. You've had the match. You've booked it the certain way. That's the art of wrestling is, okay, now let's see what happened. What organically can happen. Like you said, it's no different than walking to a worldwide and a big boo sign comes up and then you go boo and a big cheer sign goes up and you go, yeah. Like it's
because if you have 20 employees throw bottles and then fans follow their lead, that's not real.
Right. Then I don't know. I don't know if they would have done that because people say, well, they would have done it anyway. Well, I don't know if they would have done it anyway. Yeah. Right. And that's the thing where it gets it. Whereas, yeah, if it happened organically, then it's awesome. Then you've done a great job. You've built it up to where the audience is upset enough or feels that visceral reaction that they do that, and that's cool. It's so much cooler if you don't have 5 guys start it by throwing bottles in the ring. It loses a lot of its cool factor. And like you said, it subverts the art. The art of wrestling is not literally giving the crowd the direction, the cue, or whatever. Yeah.
It's telling them to throw bottles is no different than telling them to yay or boo.
Yeah.
It's not different to me just because one is physical and one isn't. And we had a long conversation with a main event major league wrestler. Is that a fair description?
That is a very fair description, yes.
We had a long private conversation with a main event level major league wrestler on this topic, and it can get very meta because on one hand, all of pro wrestling is manipulating emotion and reaction, right? So isn't having plants or if there were plants, isn't that the same? But to me, it's not. Because to me, the actions and the words and the mannerisms of the performer in the ring should be what's driving any kind of reaction. If the promotion is doing it in any other way, piped in boos and cheers to kind of nudge you in that direction, like WWE does right now. Bianca Belair isn't getting good reactions, so they're pumping in cheers to try to get people to cheer more. That's bullshit. She's not over. If she was over, you wouldn't need to do that, right? If the angle was hot enough for people to throw bottles, they're going to throw bottles. You leading them on to throw bottles is not the same. It cheapens it. So, and again, I'm not saying that they did that. I'll take them at their word. But it becomes a very meta conversation because on one hand, is it okay to get the reaction you want by any means necessary? Or do you have to get it the quote unquote hard way? To me, I am no longer interested in a product. It makes me less interested and in some cases not interested at all if you're leading the crowd on with outside means. If it's not just the performance in the ring that's deriving those emotions and those reactions, I am no longer interested. Now you're just a TV show with a studio audience that's being told what to do. And to me, that's not interesting at all. I think you kind of agree, but I don't know if I.
I think you got it. I think you totally got it. Especially in pro wrestling, I think it just comes across a lot worse. And I think a lot of wrestling fans understand, like deep wrestling fans understand that's one of the fun parts of going to a wrestling show is sitting down and being taken on that ride by the wrestlers, by the in-ring action, by the story, by that sort of stuff. It loses so much luster if before a match comes out, the promotion comes out and goes, okay, guys, this is a big match, so let's cheer for this guy. Let's put, it very famously, Impact did that thing or back in the TNA days where they sat everybody down in the Impact zone and said, all right, guys, we need you to start being allies of Impact. Remember that whole thing? I think we covered it on the flagship as well, where they sat everybody down and said, okay, we need you guys to start cheering more, and you're booing the stuff that we're trying to make good, and the Impact zone was never the same again.
And nobody defended Impact.
No, never. They said, "What are you guys doing? You're out of your minds." And so it's the exact same thing at that standpoint. Being telling the audience, "This is how we want you to react." That is not the art of pro wrestling.
No,
manipulating the audience into reacting a certain way, that is wrestling.
Correct.
Telling them no, manipulating, yes, that is the art of it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, so that's kind of where we are in that, but they swear there weren't any plans. So I could totally see that reaction being organic and visceral and everything. I could see that being a natural reaction of the people there.
Sure.
But it is pro wrestling. So I could totally see a promotion
sure
manipulating to force that reaction. And I don't like putting out the t-shirt. I think now look, they're going to make a lot of money on the t-shirt, and people are going to buy the t-shirt of the Meltzer tweet saying that he doesn't like the bottles being thrown. But to me now, okay, come on, you're getting real tacky with it now. You want to sell your t-shirt, go ahead, but I think that's tacky.
Yeah, be proud of your angle. Don't start doing this tacky bullshit. You just had a really cool angle, a really awesome thing. Just own that. The fucking let's obsess over Meltzer industry. Can we just stop?
He's allowed to have an opinion. He's allowed to think that it's trashy to throw bottles in a ring. I mean, because you're allowed to have that opinion.
Sure.
Now, he did go a step further the next day on audio and say he said there were plants. I don't know why he said that. Maybe he still thinks there's plants. Maybe someone told him there were plants. Maybe it's just 40 years covering wrestling and he doesn't believe anything's real. I don't know why he said that. And if you didn't have plants, you have a right to be upset with him for telling people that there were plants. I get that. But he's allowed to think that it's shitty to fucking pelt the ring with bottles. He's allowed to. Anyone's allowed to think that. This isn't one of those things where now, I'm okay with it, but I'm also okay with someone thinking that that's dangerous and stupid. Here's the problem. What you don't want to do is coerce your audience into making this a regular thing. Because, again, if it happens organically one time, the NWO or this or any other example you can think of, it's fine. If no one gets hurt, it's fine. But you can't. What they're in danger of running into now is if you make Meltzer your enemy and you make this a rallying cry that, we're going to throw then most people in this world are stupid, and you run the risk of them wanting to shove it up Meltzer's ass every night by throwing shit into the ring on all of your shit. And you
right.
It's want this to get out of control.
No.
Nobody wants that, and you shouldn't want that. And by selling these t-shirts and everything, to me, you might be kind of encouraging that. Whereas the best way to handle this would have been to ignore him when he said he didn't like it, because he's entitled to that opinion, and just defend yourself in a classy way when he said you had plants there if you really didn't have plants there. But I don't know, it's game changer. They're like the Hooters of wrestling. They have no interest in being classy. The Hooters slogan for years was delightfully tacky and proud of it. Like, that was their whole gimmick. It was, we're tacky. If you don't like it, don't come here. That's kind of what GCW is. They're tacky. It's I don't know. That kind of rubs me the wrong way, though.
Move in with Frontier.
Hey, it's us. Your 10 o'clock video conference meeting?
Sorry, I was on mute.
We heard you were moving.
It's time to upgrade to Frontier.
With upload speeds as fast as download speeds, Frontier fiber optic internet is lightning fast.
And it's just $59.99 per month plus activation fee for 500 meg service. And the router's included.
So, let's talk next steps.
Make the switch.
Moving with Frontier. Go to getfrontier.com for complete offer details. Services subject to availability and all terms and conditions.
It's just unnecessary. They really just don't need to do it. But so you did not watch the undercard, so I will not talk to you about Marco Stunt and Starboy Charlie or his undercard. I was really hoping you didn't watch the undercard because it looks pretty. Does not look good. I'm the same way as you. I'll check in with the main events.
It's not my style.
Yeah, it's fine. They sell tickets, whatever. It's good. I'm good. I don't need to see Too Cold Scorpio and Grim Reaper wrestle. So I'm fine. All right.
I might go back.
Yeah, you didn't know Scorpio was on the show, did you?
I didn't know Grim Reaper was on the show.
That's your boy. I forget you're a Grim Reaper guy. Yeah.
I've had enough of Too Cold, if I'm being honest.
We're starting. The joke's kind of done now. It's Rand's Cold.
Look. I don't know. Do I want to go down this road? Look. He's not who he was. Okay, stop pretending. He still he can still do some of his stuff, and it was fun the first couple times, but this idea that Too Cold is still some kind of he's not. Right. He's very he's very good at being an older version of Too Cold Scorpio. How's that for polite?
we'll go with that. That'll work there. Let's get to New Japan here real quickly. As we got about a half an hour left in the show.
I love Too Cold Scorpio.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All time. One of the all-time favorites. But yeah, at a certain point, it's not the same, and it loses.
Listen, I don't want to watch Johnny Bench step into the plate for the red. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
Right. Wrestle Grand Slam from the Tokyo Dome, a partial Tokyo Dome, a weird Tokyo Dome. What'd you make of the atmosphere of this show? You've been very, obviously I've been very, very down on Clap Crowd New Japan as of late. It's been almost impossible for me to watch shows. For some reason, the atmosphere didn't hurt me on this one nearly as much. But what did it do for you for a Tokyo Dome with all the lights on, nobody in any of the other upper decks, and just kind of a strange setup here? For Wrestle Grand Slam, did it hurt or help the show in any way for you?
Like, come on! Obviously, it sucked.
For some reason I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would. It wasn't good, but it wasn't as bad as I thought some of their other stuff had been. So.
Giant cavernous building with 5,000 people spread out all over the place, and how about these poor saps who bought tickets and got stuck behind the baseball net? What kind of? I mean, geez, and I'm sure because of COVID, you weren't free to move around.
Right? They're probably like, "Hey, can I move?" And they're like, "No, we can't." Yeah.
Nope. You got to stay separated. Like, could they lower that fucking baseball net for the night? I mean, geez, I would have hated that. Rich, when I go to baseball games, I refuse to sit behind the net. I can't stand it. I know some people say they can't tell or it doesn't matter. I cannot get the fucking net out of my head when I'm watching through the net. I can't stand that shit. So that would have really bothered me if I bought a ticket and I was stuck behind that baseball net. But no, the atmosphere sucked. It was like they were in a giant fucking warehouse. And, it's a fake dome show. But look, we all know why they're doing these things. They're running these giant buildings to sell as many tickets as they can. They don't want to sell 300 tickets in Korakuen Hall. They want to sell 5,000 tickets in the Tokyo Dome. So, that's 5,000 tickets worth of revenue. It's a bigger gate. So we've talked this to death. But in my mind, this is not like a real Tokyo Dome show. It's a fake Tokyo Dome show. It's a fake show. But, I thought most of the match, I liked most of the card, though.
I thought it was good. I thought it was actually, it reinvigorated my my New Japan viewing, because I thought this was a really good show, top to bottom. There was the Rambo, which it's 35 minutes of my life that I will never get back, unfortunately.
You sat through it, huh?
I did.
Even with all those warnings, you still sat through it.
I still sat through it, yeah.
It was horrendous. It was horrible.
It was so bad, the handcuff. I figured I should just do it. And I don't know how they make this show. I don't know how they make this match so long. I don't understand. It just, why are the intervals so long? I don't get it. Nothing ever happens. The intervals take forever. It's remarkable. But I watched it, but there's nothing more to say about that. But everything else, literally everything else on the show, I enjoyed, because then you got the junior heavyweight tag team title match, Phantasmo and Ishimori versus the Mega Coaches, Rocky Romero and Ryusuke Taguchi. I think this might be my second favorite match on the entire show. I thought this was really good work. I thought Phantasmo and Ishimori were great in this, and I thought Romero and Taguchi just playing like the mega baby faces and just all these hope spots and all these hot tags and stuff. I thought this was tremendous work by both of these teams. What'd you think of this one?
I thought it was a good match. I think Phantasmo is, way better than people give him credit for. The Mega Coaches have always been a solid team. It was just fresh, at least. It wasn't the same old teams as usual. And yeah, I thought it was a good match. I thought all 5 matches were at minimum pretty good matches. Even the one that people think that I'm going to bury, but I'm going to, anyway, we'll get to that match. But yeah, no, this was fine. It was probably, I don't think I'm as high as you are. I definitely thought it may have been 5 out of 5, no better than the 4th best match on the show to me, but everything on the show was pretty good, so it was fine.
I'm sure this was a Joe Lanza match, and I hope I'm going to be true with this assessment. Robbie Eagles, El Desperado. Robbie Eagles gets the win, defeats El Desperado to win the junior heavyweight tag team title match. I thought this was tremendous work as well. Both guys just selling body parts like crazy. Innovative offense. Like, both these guys are just incredible at innovative offense. I thought this was really damn good. They went 20 minutes. I didn't think it went any longer than it needed to go. I think it was just the right amount of length of time. And a good win for Robbie Eagles. I thought Desperado was very good in this match. He's usually pretty good. This, I thought, was very, very good, El Desperado. And Robbie Eagles, I think, is tremendous as well. I thought this was a tremendous match here.
Yeah, it's a great match. This was... I don't think Despi's had a great title run, but he went out on a high note here. And Eagles was out of this world good in this match. I mean, if you are a limb selling fetishist, this match is for you, because you will not see many limb selling performances better than what Eagles put forth here. I mean, selling that leg, he was so good. And Eagles always is a very good wrestler when it comes to telling an in-ring story and psychology within the match and whatnot. So this was right up his alley. And Desperado is a very good wrestler. So, there were 2 notable things about this match. Number one was Robbie Eagles' selling was just off the charts great. One of the best selling performances you'll see of the year. And the other thing was Despi at the end of the match fighting that Ron Miller special and teasing the tap and all of that.
Yeah.
He was so good in the final 30 seconds or so of this match. So,
and the crowd so badly wanted to yell and scream. You could hear like a few people do it as well. Like, they were like, COVID, fuck. I just want to do it though. Yeah, it was, great work by Desperado there.
Yeah. I love this match, and feel good for Robbie Eagles. I don't know. I watched in real time. Maybe you saw later when you checked, because I'm sure you were asleep. But I think every wrestler in Australia was excited for this guy when he won the match. I mean, so you could tell that everybody loves him, and he's a likable guy. Because you just get tweets all over the place from everyone in Australia about how proud they were of him and all of that.
Unfortunately, I think they got about 2 weeks to be proud, and I think that's gonna end. But hey,
you know what? Let's talk about that. I think he should beat Hiromu.
I think so too. I think he should. I don't think he will, but I'm with you.
That's where they were going before all the shit hit the fan, before injury and all that shit. If you remember, they were building to a feud between those two, and Eagles beat them in the tag. I think this has got to be going back almost 2 years now, but I think they're just redoing that shit. So I would not be surprised at all if Eagles beats them. If this were any other time in Puro history, Eagles is winning, because you come back from an injury, you lose. New Japan has kind of broken those rules. Not entirely, but they don't operate by the old school Puro rules as much as they used to. But I really feel like it's a better story if Eagles wins that match and they make Hiromu climb back to the top.
I agree. I'm 100% with you.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I don't think that it's a lock that Hiromu's winning that match. And I really do think it's a better story if he doesn't.
Move on to a few of the other matches here. Okada versus Cobb, 19 minutes, 23 seconds. Okada getting the roll-up finish, or the kind of the out-of-nowhere finish, I'd say. Not necessarily a roll-up, but kind of a counter, a hook of both legs, 1, 2, 3. Jeff Cobb gets up immediately, kind of has that surprised look on his head, like, God damn it, I got caught here. What'd you think of that finish, and what'd you think of this match as well? I thought this was good, but I think a lot of people liked it a little bit more than I did. I thought Cobb looked good. I thought Okada did a good job of making Cobb look good, but I don't know. I don't know if I liked it nearly as much as some other people did.
Oh, I love this match. I thought it was great.
Well, the floor is yours then. Go ahead.
I love the finish too because that's the sit-down clutch he used on Omega in the second, and it's the sit-down clutch he used on Jericho. So he used this finish, about once a year to pick up a win on a guy, and it's such a smart finish because it protects the guy you're beating to some extent too because. He won the match fair and square, and he won it clean, but he didn't Rainmaker Jeff Cobb in the center of the ring. And Jeff Cobb still has a legitimate gripe. He's like, all right, you got me, but you didn't really get me, So it gives reason to keep it going, and they are having another match. So from that perspective, I thought the finish was great. I thought the work here. I mean, this was just, this is one of them ham slappers. This was, two big guys, and Okada's big by the standards of this company, and Cobb is big by any standard on earth, just slapping the shit out of each other. It was meat slapping together, and Okada working a style that he doesn't typically work. I mean, this was hard hitting, and it was a meat fest, and I liked it a lot. I mean, I thought it was, it could have been the second or third best match on the show for sure. I mean, And again, worked to the perfect length, unlike the one we're about to talk about. It didn't overstay its welcome. It ended when it should have ended. And I'm looking forward to the rematch because I think they left plenty on the table.
Let's get to that match here. Dangerous Tekkers, Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. defeating Sonata and Naito. 37 minutes and 58 seconds. With that said, this is probably my favorite match between these two. I think it did well to build off of the prior matches that they had. There was a lot of points where it was exciting. It didn't feel... There's some Dangerous Tekkers matches that go 25 minutes and feel like they're 45. This one, I mean, it felt like it was a 40-minute match, no doubt about it. It felt like a 30, 40-minute match. But there was enough stuff that I enjoyed in it where it didn't feel like an absolute slog like some of these matches do.
I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because they actually told a story in this one. And it wasn't just a tornado tag for 25 minutes with just guys taking turns doing shit to each other.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. No, for sure. This blew away. To me, it blew away any of the prior matches they had. Because the other prior matches, like you said, your eyes kind of glaze over after about 15 minutes thinking, okay.
It's the same shit over and over. Just get to it already. This was working over Zack Sabre Jr.'s fucking body part. And then Zack kind of escaping, very similar to the Okada finish, I guess, but not really because Okada didn't get beaten up the entire match. He just caught Cobb. Whereas here, Sabre survived by the skin of his teeth after he got his ass kicked the entire match. But, it just didn't need to be this long. You could have told this same story in literally half the time. Why did this had no reason to go 40 minutes. I mean, come on. If you're worried about the, 5-match shows and adding length, just put the fucking Rambo on the show then. Don't put it on the pre-show. If you're so concerned about that. Add a 6th match that's 6 minutes long with a young lion. Okay, because I'm so tired of these matches overstaying their welcome, especially in the COVID environment. I mean, it's just, the work here was good and the story here was good. It's just they had to stretch it out because they feel like they have to. And I'm just so tired of it. And it hurts a match like this.
Yeah, I always wonder if fans in the building really agree. Because the idea is, okay, well, we're only giving them 5 matches or whatever and all that sort of stuff. Would the fans really care that much if the show went an hour and a half? Like, I really don't know if they would. But I don't know. I don't know if it's a value thing. It's also a New Japan thing, too. They have this idea that, like, big-time matches, big-time title matches need to go long, too. They're forced themselves into, hey, it's an important match, so it's got to go 30-plus minutes. And it just doesn't. It just does not always have to. And especially in this COVID era, they've just gotten ridiculous with this. Like we said, junior title match, 20 minutes. Or junior tag team title match, 20 minutes. Junior heavyweight title match, 20 minutes. Okada Cobb, 20 minutes. This one, almost 40 minutes, and then our main event, almost exactly the same amount of length of time as well. 37-26, Shingo Takagi defeating Hiroshi Tanahashi to retain the World Heavyweight title. Again, I like this a lot. It's just I just don't think it needed to go 40 minutes, and I feel like a broken record saying that, but it makes these shows such a slog, and it sucks because it's Shingo and Tanahashi, and they're great, and this one was great. It was fantastic. Shingo's so good. Tanahashi's still great. It's just, yeah, you're just looking at your watch going, man, how much longer is this thing going to go on for? It sucks. I hate that that's all I think about when these matches happen.
And maybe with a hot crowd, you wouldn't have thought it, but you're not getting a hot crowd. You can't have a hot crowd. So, I mean, I'm not someone who has come on here historically and bashed. I mean, I've defended New Japan matches that people have called egregiously long by saying, no, I don't know. Hold on now. I think they filled the time well. But it's so much harder to fill that time when the crowd can't cheer. It's just, you're asking way too much. And if we learned anything with the COVID, with the no crowds especially, the best way to fill the time with no fans is if you're just going to work extra stiff and beat the living shit out of each other. If you insist on going long. I mean, the best way is just to go out there and have a neat and tidy match and just keep it moving. But if you insist on going long or whatever, you really got to, like, the best matches to me were the ones where people really beat the shit out of each other. Noah had a bunch of matches like that in front of no fan. The Go Shiozaki reign, is a good example, but it's too hard, even for the greats. And this was a great match, though. But yeah, could they have shaved time off of this? Absolutely. I mean, come on, even shaving 5 minutes off of each of these matches, you're still going over 30. You're not robbing anybody of anything. And it's easier to tell your story, particularly when you can't pique the crowd, and with vocal reactions. So yeah, it did take away a little bit from this bout, but I still thought it was really great. I didn't think it was match of the year level.
No.
But I did think it was a great match and a notch below match of the year level, though. But
yeah,
the closing stretch was really great.
It was really good. Yeah, it was really good. And I think, unfortunately, I've reached a point where I don't know that any New Japan match for the rest of this year, no matter how good it's going to be, is going to be match of the year level to me, because I'm able to watch, wrestling in with, back when everybody was wrestling in front of no crowds, it was kind of an even playing field. But now it's just like so hard to consider these matches like great matches, where again, I like the rest of the show. I thought the show was very good, and I really, like I said, it reinvigorated, New Japan for me. But yeah, like this match, I totally understand how in any other year or any other circumstance, I'd probably think this is like so good, so, just incredible stuff. But it's just, yeah, there's just some, we're getting along the tube talking about it, but it's just, yeah,
look,
it sucks. It sucks. Yeah. It's not anyone's fault. It's just, yeah, it's fucking,
they feel obligated to go this long. And it's just, I can't call it a match of the year contender because it didn't grip me from start to finish. The closing stretch though was really great. And the Tanahashi doing the Kamagoye was a really nice touch. I thought that was a really cool spot, that he tried to finish off Shingo with the move of the guy whose place he was taking in the match, who's also his former tag team partner, by the way. So his little nod to Ibushi was cool. And, they did end up having a great match. But, you wonder about Ibushi now. I mean, we're told that he really wanted to work the match and he would have worked it, but the doctors wouldn't allow it. So you see what happens moving forward with him. But he's had a lot of weird and scary medical stuff this year.
Yeah, his thing we'll definitely have to tell with where he is announced on these other shows, and if he is announced on these other shows, because we're told that he's wants to wrestle. The doctors say no, but so far we don't know when he's coming back, which is kind of a little bit of an interesting note there. But the MetLife Dome, the next Wrestle Grand Slam happening. We'll preview it a little bit more when we get the entire card, but you did not see the end of Shingo Takagi and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Oh, dear God. Evil came out and attacked Shingo. We're doing Shingo versus Evil, World Heavyweight Championship match. Main eventing the MetLife, the former Seibu Dome. Again, it's not a real Seibu Dome show, but man, I don't want to see Shingo versus Evil.
I hope when COVID is finally truly behind us that they keep running all these big domes and stuff, because I think that'll be cool as hell. It's just, I don't give a fuck there's no prestige involved to me at all with these shows.
Yeah. So you got to get it out of your head, because I've seen a lot of people go like Evil Seibu Dome, and it's like that's not a real Seibu Dome. It's
they
not
can
the real
sell
Tokyo
the
Dome.
fucking 4,000 tickets or whatever with their eyes closed. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, they're not real. But that is the main event. God, that thing's gonna go 40 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, with Garroot wire spots. So get ready for that. I gotta be honest. I liked Evil Ishii a lot, and it's funny because like no one else did. Like I think on Cage Match it has like a 3, but like it's weird because I watched that with the sound completely off, and it's like I thought it was like, look, it had all the same problems every Evil match had, but had less of it. And I thought it was okay. I mean, I thought it was borderline Notebook, honestly. But I am definitely not looking forward to Evil versus Shingo. I want no part of that. I want no part of Evil, really, at all.
10% filled Seibu Dome.
Yeah, I mean,
God.
It's God. But I guess it's a filler defense. I don't know. I mean,
it is what it is. Yeah.
If Evil were ever to win that, it's like,
oh, don't talk that into. No, please no. I can't. I just can't. I can't do the discourse. I can't watch the matches. We're gonna have to.
And we're getting a third Techers versus LIJ, but
of course we are. Of course.
No, it's a 3-way. But they're adding Goto and
Yoshihashi. Yeah.
Which doesn't make it any better.
Right, unfortunately, it doesn't help too much, but
it doesn't help at all. I still have no interest. So, all right, New Japan, everybody.
There you go. And Robbie Eagles versus Hiromu, as we mentioned as well. So that should be pretty good, though.
Well, that's going to be great.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Hiromu's just getting back, but I have full faith.
Oh no, dude! We always say when he came back from his neck injury, remember the first spot he did? He knocked the guy down and did the fucking the cannonball into the corner. Like, he's going to do that again. I don't think you ever get half-speed Hiromu. You know, I think he comes back when he knows he's 100% ready to go.
That's when Eagles... Didn't Eagles beat him in that match?
Yeah, right.
When he came back the first time from injury? I'm telling you, they're going to repeat that.
I hope. They should. That's the better story to tell. Absolutely. I think Hiromu needs to kind of get humbled in that sense and go, oh, crap, okay, I got to work myself back up and give Robbie Eagles a little bit of a run. It'll establish him a little bit more, and it'll make it that much more important, because these two are going to have great matches. And yeah, I'd be all in favor of them, having this match. Eagles gets the win. Hiromu's kind of have to build himself back up, and yeah, in a couple months, Hiromu could beat him and go on to Wrestle Kingdom as the champion or whatever, or beat him at Wrestle Kingdom or whatever you want to do. But yeah, right now, I don't see any reason to switch it to
Eagles. Think COVID fucked up their program, whatever they were going to do.
Yeah.
Because they didn't wrestle again after that, did they? I could be. This is a long time ago.
No, I think Eagles was gone. I mean, yeah, because Eagles, I think, went back, and then he was never able to get back. You know what I mean? Like, I think that was late 2019, and then obviously with 2020, he wasn't really able to be there that often. So
yeah, I don't want to sound like a goof. I'm going to pull it up.
So figure it out before we move on.
Well, they wrestled in the COVID Super Juniors.
But oh, right. Yeah.
But when Eagles beat Hiromu in the tag match, they were clearly setting something up that didn't happen because of COVID, because they never had a singles match after that until Super Juniors. And by then, with COVID and everything, who knows what I think they had a program planned, and this is their chance to do it now.
Right. Because and if you saw, they were frequently against each other. I'm looking at it as well. February of 2020, frequently against each other, and then obviously it all goes away, and then they don't do anything until November of 2020 at the Best of the Super Juniors, like you said. So yeah, it felt like something was happening there, but who knows?
But by November, whatever booking plans were set for anything,
all gone,
all ripped up and thrown in the garbage with everything that was going on. I do remember that match. That was a really great match, if I recall. The Hiromu and Robbie Eagles in the Super Juniors. So yeah, I think that's pretty much a lock for a great match.
Yeah, oh no, it's gonna be tremendous, yeah. All right, so let's move on to a few other topics here as we have about 15 minutes left to go here. MLW's BattleRiot III. So this was up on MLW's YouTube channel as well. It's a 41-man Battle Riot match, essentially just a Royal Rumble with pinfalls. The YouTube video had a few clips before. It had a few little intros and stuff like that. But essentially the clip is the Battle Riot match. You do have some Dario Cueto or whatever the hell. What is he called in MLW?
He is... the fuck is his name? I don't know his name. It's Dario Cueto.
Yeah, Dario Cueto. But
he was good. He was
great. Oh, he comes out and says, "Oh, he starts setting it up a little bit, and then he cuts kind of like a little bit of a heel promo, and the fans start kind of booing him a little bit. And he goes, 'Oh, I thought this was a big wrestling town or whatever.' And they go boo, and he goes, 'I can't hear you. I thought this was a big wrestling town.' Then they go, yeah. It was awesome. So he gets the crowd just going nuts for it. Yeah, they thought he was they thought he was burying them, but no. I just want you guys to start cheering, you assholes. And then everybody just starts going, yeah. It was pretty awesome. But Dario Cueto comes out there, gets the crowd ready. And then we get our Battle Riot match. And this is on YouTube as well, free on YouTube.
Well, I liked when he snatched the mic from Jordan Oliver, and then Myron Reed took it from him, and then Myron Reed said what he had to say, and then Cueto goes, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yes.
It was such a great line. "Who the fuck are you?" He's like, "You guys, I hope you know who you're interrupting." He's like, so that was a good line. But they set up a Injustice versus Conan came out with Slice
LAX.
Boogie.
Yeah,
Slice
the new
Boogie
LAX. The new LAX, yeah.
It's like 19 LAX, Generation 19 LAX now that we're on
yeah,
here.
with Julius Smokes, Danny Limelight.
That's Slice Boogie.
Right.
I'm into the Slice Boogie. He does a nice job.
Julius Smokes.
Yeah.
When I think Latin American Exchange, I think Julius Smokes for sure. So
yeah. I will never forget Big Cass coming out at WrestleMania weekend as a big surprise on one of those midnight shows. And Julius Smokes on commentary goes, "Is that Test?"
Who's been dead for
15 years.
Yeah.
Thought it was Test.
Oh, Julius Smokes. That was on the VXS show, the Lucid Dreams, which indeed that show is indeed a lucid dream. But this was on for free on YouTube. You can still find it as well if you want to watch this. But it is noted by Court Bauer this week, which who knows with Court and MLW. But he says, quote, MLW's days on YouTube are coming to an end. I look forward to sharing more soon. And don't worry, it's good news. So, there you go.
Cesar Duran.
Cesar Duran. Yes.
That's his name. Yeah.
But then we had the Battle Riot. And Joe, like they were booking it for you, the first 4 men out. How about you do it? Because this is the Joe Lanza special here. These first 4 guys that came out. Yep. Start with Davey and his abs.
Filthy Tom.
Yeah, Filthy Tom Lawler.
TJP.
Yep.
Lee Moriarty. And then the match goes to shit.
Yeah, and then unfortunately a lot of other guys. But hey.
How come when they did the thing where they were picking the fucking balls out of the container? Did you watch any of that?
I did watch a little bit of that. I watched a little bit and then decided to start skipping. But
so Lawler picks his egg out of the container, him and Koo, right? And I don't even think Koo ended up in the match. Like, was Koo even in the match?
He was. It was hard. There's 41 men and had a lot. They did a lot of like 30 guys in the ring at one time type things. Koo was in the match.
They did. Nobody got eliminated.
Nobody ever got eliminated in this match.
So anyway, Lawler goes into it and picks out his egg. And he opens it up, and it clearly has the number 25 on it. But he acted like he was mad at the number. Like he's like, "Oh, well, this is good for a first try. Let me get another ball." And then fucking Atoot was like, "No, you only get 1 ball." Like they did a bit. You know what I mean? But the fucking paper said 25. First of all, why aren't they gimmicked? Why do any of them have real papers with real numbers on them? That's question number 1. Number 2, like, we can see the 25 like through the page, and then he comes out at number 2. So, I don't know. That was fucked up and sloppy. They really should have reshot that with a blank piece of paper that didn't say fucking 25 on it. But anyway, he was number 2, and then I don't know. What about Beast Man? What'd you think of Beast Man?
The Beast Man.
The Beast Man. Yeah, good catch.
He was beastly, I guess. Yeah, there was a lot of dudes. So the guys in the match, they had obviously Davey Richards, Tom Lawler, TJP are the first 3, the Joe Lanza special. Lee Moriarty comes in there. Kit Osborne, King Mo. Remember when King Mo was like the dude in Impact? and every single Wrestling Observer would say King Mo has continued training in wrestling. Like any day now, he's ready to become the biggest star in Impact and Bellator at the same time. And then now he's just like number 6 in the Battle Riot. So.
But the best thing about King Mo and MLW is it means Dan Lambert's on MLW.
Yes, it does. Yes,
so just keep King Mo around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Calvin Tankman, Arez, Gringo Loco. Like literally at this point, I don't think anybody had been eliminated.
No one got eliminated until like number 30,
right.
28 or 30 or something.
One man came in there. It was clearly they wanted one man to clean the ring, and I'm not upset with that. We'll talk about it in a bit. But Zenshi, Aramis, Alex Kane, Myron Reed, Savio Vega comes out. Your boy, Jordan Oliver, the Beast Man comes out.
The Beast Man. Yeah. They got to keep him around.
They do. I'm a big fan of the Beast Man. Dan Rivera. I love MLW's roster rules, by the way.
Listen, this was a nice collection of guys.
There's like body guys. There's Davey Richards. There's big young dudes like Alex Kane and Calvin Tankman. Yeah. There's the Von Erichs. EJ Naduka, who we're going to talk about in a bit, who was fucking great.
How great did he look? Why would they cut that guy? What are you doing?
Idiots, yeah.
He must either have an attitude problem or I don't know. Why would you cut that guy? Like, I don't understand. Look at him.
I know. It's nuts, yeah. A professional bodybuilder, a former football player. He's coming in a little bit here. Danny Rivera, Slice Biggie. I think I said Danny Limelight earlier, but yeah, Danny Rivera, obviously. Matt Cross, Buku Dao, Marshall Von Erich. The Von Erichs, man, they still get big pops every single time.
You know the best thing about Buku Dao is
please do tell me the best thing about Buku Dao. So
he stepped up to the judge. I can't pronounce his name. The guy we were just talking about.
EJ Naduka. Yeah, EJ Naduka.
He steps up to him. He says, "You ain't shit," because they have to do the biggest guy in the match and the smallest guy in the match. They have to do a spot. I mean, that's a rule. So Naduka lays him out, and then slimy ass TJP, who Buku Dao has been feuding with, steals the pin and eliminates him. And tells him, "Get out of here." After they've been feuding the whole season long, and he didn't do anything. But there was a nice touch that TJP eliminated him. Yeah. Anyway, you may continue.
I like that. Yeah, it was a well booked. The Battle Riot, there was a lot of stuff.
Was it?
I mean, there was like 5 things that were well booked, but the problem was it went 55 minutes. So, unfortunately, the hit rate wasn't great. I mean, if you boil it down to those 5 things that were good, they were good. But yeah, like you said, unfortunately, because it was 60 minutes, you lost a little bit. So you had Marshall Von Erich, and as I said, the Von Erichs still to this day get big pops. It doesn't they're not good at all. They're just not good.
They look like they should be good.
They look so good, and you think, man, a Von Erich.
Two tall, good-looking guys, and they're legitimate Von Erichs, and then they're not that good.
Stink, yeah. They're just not.
It was a running bit when I was reviewing MLW last season. Every one of their matches was a tornado tag or no DQ because they don't even trust those guys to have a tag match. So all of their matches are just like wild brawls or tornado tags because they're not that good.
Yeah. And then EJ Naduka comes in and he eliminates 10 people almost immediately. He's just a brick shit house. And he was one of the guys I circled when he got released. Because he got released and he was tweeting like a minute later. Like, they're wrong. I can't believe, and it was just like, oh, okay, all right. And he came out here, man. Yeah, MLW's got something here. I hope he sticks around.
How about these Rich Craich Battle Riot notes? Yeah. This is very impressive.
I was into the Battle Riot. Yeah, I was into the Battle Riot. 10. I'm also on the Wikipedia, which actually is pretty detailed in the eliminations.
Oh, well,
here. So I mean, don't give me all the credit here.
No, this is like plants throwing bottles. You get no credit.
You thought I wrote down EJ Naduka's 10 eliminations?
I thought you had meticulous notes here, I do with the fucking. How come I don't do this? I should just use. Why am I doing all this work?
You're an idiot. Stop.
For Battle Royal notes when we do these shows.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Kimchi, Zicky Dice, Kevin Koo, you mentioned.
How can you just blow through Kimchi like that?
It wasn't the Kimchi, so it's not.
You're telling me this wasn't Dirty Frank Dalton?
It did not look like him. No, it was neither. It was neither the Brooklyn Brawler or it was not.
It wasn't. Frank Dalton's been dead for like 30 years.
He's a tough get. Frank Dalton's a tough get these days.
The Dalton family is really getting a lot of play on this flagship today.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. The second Dalton reference today. So.
But how do you know this wasn't an authentic Kimchi? How do you know that wasn't Steve Lombardi? How do you know that wasn't whoever else made
Buddy Wayne played him right at a point.
Did he? Buddy Wayne was.
I think Buddy Wayne played Kimchi once. Yeah.
Good for Buddy Wayne. He was the West Coast Kimchi, right? He was. You go to L.A. Coliseum or fucking Seattle or something. Buddy Wayne is Kimchi. Madison Square Garden, it's fucking Brooklyn Brawler. in a territory somewhere, if it's Friday instead of kimchi, it's Frank Dalton. That's how that goes. So how do you know this wasn't one of the authentic?
You're right. I cannot. Well, I know it wasn't the one that's dead, but I can't confirm any of the other. Well, Buddy Wayne's not alive either, so that would also make it tough. Yeah,
that's true. So Brooklyn Brawler bust here.
Yeah, it was. Unless he's got himself in some incredible shape. So congratulations to Brooklyn
this
Brawler.
This man wasn't very. Yeah, he's a small man.
Very Steve Lombardi really
eliminated too.
Yeah, it did not last very long. So anyway, then we had Zicky Dice, Kevin Koo, KC Navarro, Lance Anoy, L.A. Park.
Well, hold on. What was his name again? Lance?
I don't know how to pronounce the last names. I always forget.
What was Lance's name? He's part of the famous wrestling.
I always get their name wrong. I'm not going to do it. We're too late in the show. Moving on. We got a minute here.
I don't know how to say it either.
I say it wrong all the time.
Lance, famous Samoan family.
Yes,
Lance.
there you go.
Yes.
L.A. Park.
I didn't notice him in there.
Well, it was Tom Lawler just as L.A. Park. So.
Did I watch this match?
Yeah, well, you maybe started. Your eyes started to glaze over here because we're about 45 minutes into this thing, so I could see Simon Gotch, Davari, the Blue Meanie.
Good pop for the Blue Meanie.
Yeah, Blue Meanie. Yeah, good for him.
I would say he was in tremendous shape, but he's never been in tremendous shape.
No. I mean, for him, he looked
like the Blue Meanie. You know.
But like we said, that's kind of his gimmick. If Blue Meanie came up looking svelte and with a six pack, like,
nah,
you don't want that. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched Blue Meanie versus. Oh shit! Who's the other dead guy? The manager from Ring of Honor. It's late. We've been doing
Larry
this show
Sweeney.
I watched a Blue Meanie versus Larry Sweeney match the other day from like 2006. That's all. I don't have a story. I just wanted to tell you that
I saw it. So.
Blue Meanie versus Larry Sweeney. You could imagine what that was all about.
Yeah.
Wasn't exactly UWFI.
No, certainly not. Yeah.
Okay.
Rings. It wasn't Rings out there for sure.
No.
So. Akira Kwan, Ross Von Erich, the other Von Erich.
Oh, you're blowing through Kwang?
No.
Oh, you're talking about the guy from fucking
Akira Kwan.
Yeah, the guy from their heel faction.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything at the end of the
Contra
show.
Contra unit.
Contra unit, yeah.
Yeah, Akira Kwan, thankfully, I always, when I hear the name, I always think of Yoshi Kwan, but thankfully Akira Kwan, I believe, is actually an Asian man as opposed to,
right.
Yoshi Kwan.
Eyeliner to fucking make
right, it was very much not Asian. They just couldn't find an Asian wrestler, 1990. Yeah. There's just no...
Asians don't like wrestling, so why would it be very hard to find an authentic Asian man to portray an Asian character?
Yeah, if there was only just a place where Asian wrestlers existed, we could have maybe used one or two of them.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tricky.
But let's just use Paul Diamond. Ross Von Erich.
Oh, Chris Champion.
Yeah, no, I know. But Paul Diamond, I meant for the...
Oh, for Kato.
Yes. But yeah,
well, you're talking about Yoshi Kwan. What is?
No, I know. I'm jumping back. Well, also a white man portraying a Asian man in wrestling.
At least they had the wherewithal to put him under a mask.
Right, Yoshi Kwan. They just put horrendous
eyeliner,
problematic eyeliner on him. That
How about P.Y. Chuhai? Now we're talking.
P.Y. Chuhai.
Phil Hickerson. But see, at least with him, that was the joke.
Yes.
Like his whole thing was, I'm turning Japanese. Like. And you're supposed to boom.
Right, there wasn't any element. There was no. It was obvious that he was not Asian. You know what I mean? Like,
right, that's the heat. Like if the heat for Yoshi Kwan was you're a white guy faking to being like, it'd be okay if that's the heat because it's like you're an asshole for pretending to be. That was P.Y. Chuhai. Anyway, you may continue. Speaking of fake Asians, we're coming up on another one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Ross Von Erich, not a fake Asian. Joseph Samael, also not a fake Asian.
A fake Sheik, though.
Yeah, the fake Sheik indeed. But Alexander Hammerstone, who was cosplaying a fake Hulk Hogan here. The Sentai Death Squad. They both came out here.
Did you know who they were? I knew who they were.
No, I had no idea.
One was definitely Paro, for sure.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, right.
The other was the fucking Flex Rumble Crunch.
I thought that. Okay, I was glad because I was like, man, that looks like one of the Devastation Corporation guys.
Do I have the right one? I don't know. But you know the one, the black guy.
Unfortunately, one of them was canceled. I thought, but
Thomas something or other.
Thomas Strong, I believe, was his name. Yeah.
Anyway, that's who they were, without question.
Got it. Yeah, I thought I was like, man, that looks like one of the Devastation guys, but I thought they both got. There's Blaster McMassive and then whatever the other guy was. So which
one is he?
I don't remember, to be honest. I think Blaster McMassive is the one you're talking about. The one that was that was the guy that was there was Blaster McMassive, I believe.
All
Dude, who cares?
I mean, one's a black guy, one's a white guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, the black guy, the black one, which I believe is Blaster McMassive. So
okay,
there we go. All right. Anyway, then
Thomas Sharp. I knew it was Thomas.
I said Thomas Sharp.
I don't listen to
Sharp. I know.
All right.
I said Sharp. Quang the Ninja came out. That is
another fake Asian. And
you don't know that. How do you know that Quang's not real Asian?
Oh, come on, sir. This is why Savio Vega was the first guy eliminated, so he can go change in his fucking Quang outfit.
Get out of here.
He's the only guy out for a half hour because he had to go put on new clothes. Another fake Asian. Unbelievable. That's 4 fake Asians we've identified in wrestling. There's probably more.
There's plenty, yeah.
And 3 of them were in this match.
Were in this match alone.
Is Kim Chi a fake? Is he a fake Asian?
You're right.
Asian name.
Yeah. Kim Chi is certainly portraying a fake Asian. So
never portrayed by an Asian man.
No,
to our knowledge.
No, I do not believe Buddy Wayne was Asian. So.
In his beekeeper outfit.
Right. Then we had King Huertas, Gino Medina, and then Mads Kruger, who's the final guy. And then Alexander Hammerstone got the win there, last eliminating Mads Kruger. So,
have you ever seen any of the Hammerstone Mads Kruger matches?
I have, yeah.
They're fucking atrocious.
They're not good at all. Yeah, Mads Kruger
I have to remember them for
is not good. He's got a cool look. I get it. I understand why they would push a guy like that, but I don't know that I would. I don't know. He's not good at all. And Hammerstone, I like Hammerstone a lot, but he's. I think he's a guy that excels when he's in there with a really good wrestler. He probably shouldn't be the best guy in the ring. You know what I mean? And in those cases, he has to be with Mads Kruger. So,
well, as Tyrus would say, "Nuff said."
So there you go. Alexander Hammerstone gets it. So overall, what'd you think of BattleRiot 3?
I fucking stunk, but it was fun.
Exactly. That's pretty much. It was 55 minutes of my life that I didn't feel like I wasted, and I kind of enjoyed it, even though it wasn't good.
But I'm all jazzed up about MLW coming back because the fans were hot.
Fans were hot. The roster's awesome. It's cool because the production's pretty damn good. A lot of the guys in there are fun. It's unique. It doesn't feel like any other wrestling company around right now, too, which is good. It doesn't feel like a dollar store Ring of Honor. It doesn't feel like a dollar store AEW. It doesn't feel, you know what I mean? Like it has its own. It doesn't feel like the independent wrestling TV stuff or the next. It doesn't feel like another GCW. It just feels like it's completely in its own universe, which is kind of cool.
I'm going to tell you why. Because unlike a lot of these other places, Hammerstone, Navon Eriks, Contra, it's like their guys. Those guys don't wrestle anywhere
Kruger's one of their guys too, basically.
Yeah, they have a lot of guys who they're MLW guys. You don't really see them anywhere else. So the promotion has its own kind of flavor. So you're right about that.
So that was LW's BattleRiot 3. We had in the notes there, All Japan. Did you want to talk quickly about the Summer Action Series and Triple Crown match that you saw?
I wanted to. We don't have any time. Hold on. Where's the fucking notes? Oh, the main event, I mean, Jake Lee, Ishino, of course, Ishino lost. That shouldn't surprise anybody. It was okay. I can't call it a great match. I thought Ishino's work down the stretch in this match was really good. I still don't think Jake Lee is projecting anything anywhere close to being a company ace he's working as a heel, but there's just, same problems we always talk about with Jake Lee. He doesn't project. I mean, he's got a nice new ring robe he comes down with, which helps a little, but once the bell rings, he's Jake Lee, and I thought Ishino was really good down the stretch here. They did a lot of good ankle lock spots and a lot of creative ankle lock counters, but I don't think it's a match that you must go out of your way to see, probably just short of the Notebook. So, and Ishino continues to be a whipping boy in the booking. Sugi wins the junior title. How about that?
Yeah, our boy. I do need to watch that match. I do need to watch it. How was it? Was it worth it?
It was a collection of spots. I mean, it's a Sugi match. For Akira is going to WXW for a little while, so he's going to be on the fucking network more than likely, right? I mean,
yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work moving forward, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, Akira Francesca on WWE Network. Yeah, you're right. I didn't think of that.
So, I mean, they gave him the big tournament win and the big title win before he went away for a while. So, I mean, I assume he'll be back, but yeah, Sugi is your All Japan Junior Champion. So we really don't have to go into anything. Well, Miyahara Iwamoto was pretty good. And Miyahara comes out, and it's just the energy changes. It's just, I know people are tired of hearing me say it, but it's just, he is so far and away the most charismatic and best wrestler in this company. It's not even close.
Yeah, you always say it, and it makes some people mad, but it's an indie, and
it's
Miyahara
so
is a star.
obvious. Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like one of those guys. It's like Ayato Yoshida when you watch 2AW. You're just like, this guy's way better than this. Like,
yeah, Miyahara comes out, and the energy in the fucking building just changes. You know, it's just you know.
Got that great theme music. It's playing on my head right now. I'm fist bumping just thinking about it. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun.
it's so good. Yeah. But yeah, he had a good little match with Iamoto. So, you know, nothing over delivered. Everything delivered right as you thought it would. Oh, the All Asia match actually undelivered, I thought. Zeus didn't do shit. I don't know. There was really nothing to it. The Purple Haze versus Strong Hearts match. I was a little disappointed in that. They debuted a rookie in the opener, a new kid teamed with the Saito brothers. Man, he's a ball of energy. This Ryomu Tsukamoto.
Okay.
He's like a little bowling ball. He's got, you know, he's fucking put together. You know, he's like a short guy, but he's a brick shit house, and he did nothing but throw drop kicks. This man loves drop kicks. But I love this fire. And the other team was a bunch of old guys, and they were just like bemused with him. They're like, "Oh, you're so cute."
Oh, I'm looking at his picture. I like.
Yeah, he's like a little bowling ball,
Got
right? He's
giant
like
traps. He's bald. His head's way too big for his body.
Yeah.
And in this picture, he's throwing a drop kick. Yeah.
Yeah, it's his first match. He's still bald and everything. Like, he's a literal fucking first match out guy. Like, but his energy, like, he's screaming and throwing drop kicks. I'm like, all right.
My man.
The Saitos could use the energy, believe me. So it was a nice pairing to team with those guys.
Certainly. Yeah.
But yeah, we don't have time, but the rest was just tags and stuff. But the Miyahara match, the junior match, and the Triple Crown match, they all like met expectation but didn't exceed them. And I would call the All Asia match a skip, and go check out that rookie. So there you go.
Okay, so I'll watch the rookie, watch the junior tag, and then I'll definitely watch the main event though, because Ashina's my guy, and I guess
Triple Crown.
Yeah, it's a Triple Crown. I can't miss it.
It's good. It's a good match. You know, it's not going to threaten your match of the year list, but it's a good match.
Yeah, and then before we wrap up here, we're not going to preview the Dragon Gate show. We talked about it last week. We gave you all the matches and stuff. But do want to say that obviously Dragon Gate happening this weekend. Big shows going on. Open the Voice Gate this week had a lot of good shows, so I will recommend listening to them this week. Obviously, it's Masato Yoshino's final run here. This weekend will be his final two shows. Open the Voice Gate had an interview with Jay from Dragon Gate, the English commentator from Dragon Gate, obviously the man who used to run iHeartDG.com, pretty much the gateway to English Dragon Gate for many of us. A great interview by those guys, by Mike and Kate.
Must listen. Go listen.
Yeah, absolute must listen. Just three dudes that know Dragon Gate better than anybody else on the planet. Talking about Dragon Gate, which is just awesome. So yeah, Open the Voice Gate this week has done an incredible job. We'll have a preview up on the website as well. Written preview from those guys. We have John Hernandez, checking in on the Mochizuki Dojo guys. Just a ton of stuff. K-Slow did an incredible piece about Masato Yoshino and his career as well. That's up at voicesofwrestling.com. So just, a lot of stuff. We weren't able to give it time here in terms of a preview, but we will watch it, and obviously we'll review it next week on the show, both of the Dragon Gate shows. From this weekend. But yeah, we ran out of time on this week's show to actually do a proper preview, and I'm a little bit behind on Dragon Gate as well, so it's okay. But the Voice Gate guys have you covered from all angles with written articles, audio stuff this week, so plenty of Open the Voice Gate stuff for you guys this week. But yeah, that is it. Joe, anything else before we get out of here?
No.
That is it. So that is it for the Voice of Wrestling Flagship Podcast. Patreon.com/Voice of Wrestling. Thursday tier reviews dropped a few minutes before this show, so if you want a detailed review of Dynamite, you can do that at patreon.com/Voices of Wrestling. Slammiversary synopsis still going on, as well as watching Slammiversary main events. That is also available on the $5 tier, patreon.com/Voices of Wrestling. And also the Q&A that I mentioned, the VOW 10 Q&A, also available there at patreon.com/Voices of Wrestling. Yeah, new November to Remember, which I listened to.
So much stuff.
Enjoyed that. Yeah, it's a busy week
listen
here.
To one for once.
I listen. What the thing is, I don't listen to them as they're going on, but I do I'll sit down and listen to 4 or 5 at a time.
Evergreen.
Yeah, exactly. It's okay. June 8th, 1993 is not changing anytime soon. So I
do you know how hard it is? Do you know how hard it is to do a show like November to Remember when it's clip shows that you're reviewing?
Yeah, I don't know how you do clip shows.
It was back-to-back clip shows because they had no more matches left from the taping. And to pull the curtain back a bit, to tell you I was struggling for shit to talk about is an understatement. So,
but you always the good thing is you can always go back on Doug Gilbert fucking people, which is good, both literally and figuratively. So
Eddie Gilbert fucking people.
Or sorry, not Doug Gilbert. Poor Doug Gilbert for 19. Well, he was in one of the Rumbles. I forget, and he came out 1995. He was in the 95 Rumble.
Yeah, he won a fucking something in Smoky Mountain to earn his way, or USWA, something like that. But Eddie Gilbert, it's funny you say that because on the shows I just reviewed, they announced that Sherry Martell's coming in, and Eddie Gilbert says to Jay Sully, "Oh, a woman in this industry I haven't had."
You know he had it, right? You know he got that later, right?
He probably got it.
I'm sure he did. Good for him. Good for him.
Right on the fucking air. He said, the guy's terrible. No shame. That's Eddie Gilbert.
Yeah, he's thinking. He probably didn't even know, and then she came out, and he's probably like, fuck. I haven't had sex with Sherry.
Like, the shots he takes at Missy Hyatt constantly. He's like, I formed Hot Stuff International 5 years ago in Mid-South, a place called Mid-South, with Sting and Rick Steiner and an old bag named Missy Hyatt.
Jeez.
Like, jeez. Brutal. And that's not the first time he took shots at. There's another episode.
Are you going to get Missy on Jovember? You should probably do that at some point.
I'm going to talk to her at some point. I'm going to try to talk to her at some point when we get to when she shows up. I got a lot of stuff. You saw the one contact I'm trying to make. That will be incredible if I can land.
Yeah.
That I want to record and make that its own show if I get that guy to agree, because that'll just be amazing. But there's that one episode where he's on the street with Heyman doing interviewing people on the street. And Missy Hyatt comes up again, and he says something to Heyman like, "Oh yeah, we passed her around in the locker room. We shared her, didn't we, Paul?" And Heyman's uncomfortable. He's like, "Ugh, like I don't want people to know I fucked Missy. Like, what are you doing this for? You know what I mean? Like, even Paul Heyman is uncomfortable." So yeah, that 93 ECW stuff. I mean, I know nobody watches it because it's fucking terrible, but some of those Eddie Gilbert lines are just you can't believe what you're hearing. You got to rewind it and be like, did he really just say that?
That's awesome. Also, sorry for besmirching Doug Gilbert, who I'll always remember when he comes out in that 95 Rumble. I think Mr. Perfect's doing commentary, and Doug Gilbert comes out, and Mr. Perfect goes, "Who's that?" And Vince McMahon goes, "Doug Gilbert." And Mr. Perfect goes, "All right, Doug Gilbert." It's like,
yeah.
He has no idea who it is. Vince McMahon says, then Mr. Perfect goes, "Oh yeah, Doug Gilbert." It's just
the best thing about it is Kurt Hennig knows full well who it is. He's just burying the fucking guy. Right. It's
it's good, yeah. Because Vince does it in he does it in the Vince McMahon where he's annoyed voice.
Yeah.
He goes, "That's Doug Gilbert."
Yeah.
Mr. Perfect, and he goes, "Oh yeah, Doug Gilbert."
Vince is like, "I made a deal with fucking Gary Jarrett. Let it go."
Because he comes out, he's wearing the worst gear you've ever seen. He's got his bright blonde hair. He's got his checkerboard rainbow gear. And it's just like, get this dork out of my fucking wrestling ring right now.
He looks like a guy they'd use as a job guy.
Right. Get him out of here.
He didn't last long.
He did not last very long, Doug Gilbert. But there you go. That's Jovember to remember. That's on the $5 tier as well. So a lot of content for you this week over at patreon.com/voicesofwrestling. Also a lot of content over at voicesofwrestling.com as well. So for Joe Lanza, I'm Rich Craich. We'll talk to you next time. Take care. Bye.
Move in with Frontier Fiber Optic Internet.
Hey, it's us. Your 10 o'clock video conference meeting?
Sorry, I was on mute.
We heard you were moving.
It's time to upgrade to Frontier.
And get upload speeds 25 times faster than cable.
500 meg internet is just $49.99 per month with AutoPay, plus free activation.
You even get a $100 Visa reward card, too.
So, let's talk next steps.
Do what cable can't. Move in with Frontier.
Go to frontier.com/getmoving for complete offer details. Service is subject to availability and all terms and conditions.
At Speedway, no thirst goes unquenched, and that includes yours. Right now, any size Speedy Freeze or fountain drink is only 99 cents. Find your nearest Speedway at speedway.com/locations. Speedway. Summer happens here. Excludes maximum Speedy Freeze or fountain drink.